This is a simple prayer that you're
You are now rocking with the best, baby. Let's go. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Let's get the party started over here. Let's get the party started, kids. Shout out to everybody here. Let's get the party started. Shout out to each and every one of you for jumping on in. Let's break down what's happening for Bitcoin. Let's talk about PMI, United States services. Let's talk about it. All right. We want to see this non-manufacturing PMI here, and it decreased to 51,000 points in March from 52.6 points in February. It provides the latest report value for the United States PMI here today for you and yours. All right. Yikes. Right. So, I mean, good and bad, somewhat baked in my humble opinion. Right. But, you know, I really want to see what Jerome Powell has to say. You know what I mean? At 12:10, he's going to speak. We're going to see kind of how these things weigh in. There's going to be a little more like, I don't know, a little more heavy pressure on him today, I think. And so, I don't know. We're going to see. And the markets could sway either way. You could see Bitcoin kind of getting ready for a move. It's sitting somewhat sideways in very chop indecision. So, you know, I would expect it to be sideways until we see Jerome Powell talk, right? Forecast is it for to continue down, but then to come up strong into the latter part of the year. So, you know, somewhat of a balance for whatever reason. So, all right. Is based on data compiled from purchasing and supply executives nationwide. All right. Survey response reflect the change, if any, in the current month compared to the previous month. For each of the indication measured, business activity, new orders, backlogs of orders, new exports, inventory change, inventory sentiment, right? Price, employment, supply deliveries. An index reading above 50% indicates the non-manufacturing economy, and that index is generally expanding. Below indicates it's generally declining. Okay? Orders to the service producers make up 90% of the U.S. economy. All right? So actual 51, previous 52, highest 67, lowest 37. All right? So it's not bad. It does mean that the economy is strong. Things aren't, you know, so... Last and previous is so it's it. You know, you can't, you know. So there you have it. So better than last March too. So, you know, in comparison to the year before. At the end of the day, it's bullish for the economy, you know, suggesting that we could handle a rate cut, right? And look at that with PMI, a nice little pump to the upside for Bitcoin. All right. Interesting enough. And did the 1 minute get above the 200? It did. And that was the signal to the upside here. Yada, 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 ba-boom. And you're just waiting on the signal. Once the signal happens, we're in. Once we're in the money. And it's simple. It's a simple strategy to play for BTC. All right. Now we're in a bit of a flag here for Bitcoin. Things getting a little crispy. And we might get a nice little pump here to the upside for BTC. All I care about is Bitcoin staying above 65,500. And we're going to talk about that. But if you're in my corner here and you know how I trade, we wait for the 1 minute to breach the 200 for gains. It's a simple strategy that can pay you time and time again. All right. It's up to you whether you want to do it, though. I don't, you know, it's all cool. Everyone finds a different way to trade. As long as you got a model, something that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You got something you can lean on, something you can put your hat on. All right, so if this daily candle closes like this will be tweezer bottoms, which is a good sign for a bounce back to the upside. This would also be a higher low, and we would just be consolidating beautifully inside of this triangle, and there's a chance here that Bitcoin is really making what's called a bull pennant, honestly, on just a mass scale, and possibly getting a bigger move here all the way to the upside to 92,500. As long as we stay above some key levels, and we're going to break it down and talk about it, this looks highly probable. Let's take a look at our weekly chart for a second here. And, yeah, we're just going to go back to my same old story. And it's good to have the same story, right? That way, you can't change. People can't say that you were flip-flopping. It's been the same story for me the whole time. So, bitty Bitcoin. 67.2 is still that area that I would love to get back above. All right, so here we are, 67,200, 65.5. We must get back above these key levels. I mean, we must hold this level here at 65.5. We must get back above 67.2. This is it for me. This is the biscuit for me. All right? It's all about 65.5. We stay above 65.5 and you see me just whistling Dixie, like all good. Why? Because I really trade on weekly big time frames and I watch them closely. And as long as we can stay above the previous weekly closes of the last cycle here, which is right here, that will remain as support. You see? Which it has now again for 1 week we got back above it. 2 weeks we got back above it. This remained as support. 3 weeks. We may even get back above 67.2. You know, there's a chance that this weekly candle closes back above 67,200. Remember, the last few weeks they took us all the way down and still brought us back up. They're going to bring you down a little bit possibly. So there's some bullishness in the air here for Bitcoin. It's not all bearish at the present moment, but weekly is pointing down. We are away from the 21-day moving average. There, to me, we're at a standstill, and the smaller time frames are going to tell us what's going to happen. You know, when you don't know what's going on in the weekly, the 4-hour loses the 200 and starts to dump to the 8-hour 200 SMA. You know that, hey, you got to start shorting. You know, nobody knows where the market is, but you got to twist it. You got to turn when you need to. You know, you got to move when you need to. And my strategy will teach you this. It'll teach you never know where Bitcoin's going at all. Like, I know nothing but the fact of my own ignorance. I have no idea where Bitcoin's going to go at all. No clue. What I do know is I can react to Bitcoin because I have certain indications that'll tell me certain things. What I like here on the 3-day is this is starting to double bottom. So that's a possible double bottom on the 3-day chart, right? Right now it is. See, the thing about patterns they are until they're not, right? Like, this is the beginning of if a double bottom played out, you could say that this is how it would play out, right? Chance that would take you further up to about 77,000. We would break that high. 3-day chart is oversold. RSI, we bring that back down. RSI's at a slant and some bullishness. It could come back up again. You know, you'd like to see it come down a little bit more, but, you know, it doesn't have to when there's some and the stochastics RSI just crossing the dotted line. I have seen some pain come from there. It's not all gravy, right? It's not all gravy. On the 3-day, the chart what you're looking at is kind of more like a flag, see? Which could be a bull flag coming to the 21-day moving average. The weekly doesn't always have to hit the 21 in a very bullish move. I will tell you that. I backtested that. We came, you know, but the 3-day generally would. And so this would be an amazing move here for the 3-day chart. And if you took the bigger move, it would be wick to wick here. And you'd swing it. And that would position Bitcoin somewhere into $103,000, even by as close to as May 9th. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's guaranteed. I'm just saying that's what the chart could convey. So as long as we stay above 65.5, this makes sense to me. The second we close candles below 65.5, this doesn't make sense to me. Most people might look funny and scratch their heads, but that's just like, if you're a trader and you know my levels and what I'm looking at, then that should make sense to you. I don't know though. It all depends on the person's, you know, trading style, what they're doing. So Bitcoin fired off on the signal that we were waiting for to the upside here. All right. Last thing I was looking at was this idea here for Bitcoin on the perpetual. Wanted to get in somewhere at about 66,000 even, right? The target actually is higher all the way to 67,261, and the stop is very low. It's a 4-to-7 risk-reward ratio. And what you're doing is you're just waiting on price action to break above. And look, we kind of have a shoulder, a head, a right shoulder, and then we were gone. We're now flagging out a little bit here. That's a nice little flag. And again, so the data, you know, the data comes in, you know, in my opinion, stronger than we, you know, better than we needed to. And it gives a warm taste that maybe Powell will be dovish today, in a good mood. Things will be sweet. I believe he comes on at 12:10. So I think we're going to take like a 15-minute break, come back on at 12:10 for Jerome Powell, right? Jerome Peppy talk. So let's take a look here at the 5-minute. Also got above the 200, and that was just, you know, these are just amazing signals to the upside, right? We go over this every single day. I probably should stop doing it. It's too simple of a signal to give away, but So sweet, so amazing. And now we got this little flag here starting to brew for BTC. Oversold in the stochastics, 1 hour looking pretty interessante. The move would take us to 67,534. And it would give a stop somewhere at about 66,279. If this puppy wants to grind. I'll just say, that would be an amazing trade, wouldn't it? 67,534 for Bitcoin. Who's having a wonderful day today? God bless each and every one of you who woke up today knowing they are the opportunity. Shout out to each and every one of you for being here. And how about our baby R trade to the upside, man? This thing is just holding down. Got a little bit of a dip there, back to 8.5. Got bought up pretty nicely, though. Still inside of a nice little flag here. R trade is hot. And we've been in this thing since 2 cents, and this thing has just been ripping despite anything Bitcoin's doing. We've been just burning it. It's been like a fire, just like this track. It's been like a fire. We even suggested we could get that parabola out of there to the upside. And so far, we've been getting that move to the upside on the parabola. So nice. And the next target looks like it could take us to 12.4. We just got to hold some key levels. The 15-minute taking a bit of a dump here to the downside. The 1 hour resetting too, but kind of flattening out. Showing signs of relentlessness. We go to the 4 hour time frame and it's a little oversold, curving to the downside, but showing signs of previous support as resistance at 8.485. So, again, I was in this trade. I personally jumped on out and took my profits. But it's like right about where I sold, so it's still pretty hot right now. It makes you want to jump on in again and not miss out on the bigger gain. I do believe it's going to have a massive move further up, and we got in at a very small market cap. I want to take a look at its market cap right now. Just looking at this coin, BOTTO, which is a decentralized autonomous artist governed by a growing community. BOTTO launched on October 8th of 2021. It creates 350 art pieces a week in gamers community and garners community preference through a voting mechanism. Voters represent individual preferences on what a participant considers to be aesthetically pleasing art. BOTTO, pretty interesting. You know what I mean? And a couple coins I want to talk about today, I'm going to bring up at around 11 o'clock is coin time. We're going to talk about new coin time, 11. So if you stay to 11, you get to the new coin time every single day here. We're going to have a couple new coins for you every single day around that time. Things that have caught my eye, things that I'm looking at, and things that you may just, I want to write down, do some research. They may be an older coin you know about. They may be a newer coin coming in. Might be just something to blow your mind. Also have something else to show you that I think is going to be interesting, that is coming out of the depths of the internet, that most people might know about too. I might be late to it, but I think a lot of people aren't. I usually find a lot of things kind of early. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I got a lot to bring to the table today. I can't wait to show it to you. But I just got to go over my Bitcoin obsession here on the 3-day chart. So possible double bottom here for Bitcoin. 3-day chart putting in some work here. Saying, you know what? I don't want to close the candle below support at 65,500. So 65.5 holding strong right now for Bitcoin. All right. And we know what levels we're going to go to if we can't hang. But so far, so good. Who bought Bitcoin? I did. I bought 65,000. I bought actually a good amount of Bitcoin, honestly. You guys saw me. It was like around between about $8,000 worth of BTC. Like, I'm trying to stack a Bitcoin before under 70K. One more Bitcoin before under, because they just keep eating it. They're going to make it so hard to get. And so I want to put it real, everyone thinking we're going down. They have all this fear in their head. And even if we go there, I have to have the same mentality of just grabbing a little more BTC in it. So if you're always on that mentality, you're going to win. In my humble opinion, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't think I'm saying you should be taking financial advice. But for me, if I'm always on the mentality, I'm going to win. I'm going to be in that zone. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to COINSTATS. I absolutely love COINSTATS. Because with COINSTATS, I can see all of my portfolios in one place. No matter whether I'm Kepler, no matter what I'm doing, COINSTATS is really the place to be. Like, if you're not on COINSTATS, then I don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to show it without showing my entire portfolio. So hold on. I'm just going to sign out over here, if I may. if I can, right? Anyway, COINSTATS. Here's a good place I could actually just show you. Make sure there's nothing in there. Yeah. COINSTATS. COINSTATS.app. Check out the link. It's awesome. And it's going to be amazing. So yeah, I really love it. Ever since I got it involved in my life, I've been super excited, and it's really changed the way I feel about crypto. I'm serious. Because I just feel like everything is in one place, nice and tidy and neat, and I'm really excited for that. All right. So let's get back into the sauce here on the perpetual that I was putting out. So hold on. Where's my last perpetual? There we go, right? So look at this thing already moving to the upside in gain as I slipped up and decided to do the show instead of trade, which I'm kind of tight about. But there you go, moving to the upside for Bitcoin. I felt like if I jump in late, I knew my entry was right here. Beautiful double bottom inside of the flag. You're already up if you took the trade. You could swing this stop loss to break even or close to it at this point. Now there's really no risk in the trade, and you can see where you go. And this is kind of what I do over and over again. This is the sauce in which I teach day in and day out. I hope you jumped on in. I didn't get a chance to. I was busy just having fun on the show. All right. I do get distracted while I'm streaming sometimes. It just seems to happen. But it is what it is. No excuses. I'll get another one later on or see if I can get another flag. And that may be all she wrote. I like to get in and get out. I take that right there, 10 to 30x leverage and move on with my 15% gain. You know what I mean? But that's how you know what I mean? High stochastic, possible little bit of bearish divergence there. Swing up to swing up. Look, that swings down. A little bit of trouble in paradise possibly there, right? But a nice little move to the upside, a nice little breakout. Got at least the base of the pole, and that's all you're asking for if you're trying to scalp with some big money there. And look, the stochastics get high. That's when I'm usually thinking about taking some profit. Let's take a look at how the 1 second is looking. See if the 1 second gets it back above the 200 SMA. That would be fireworks for a continuation move. The other day I was thinking like how to trade the 1 second. You just set up like kind of calm. You just like wait for the 200 to break really with like a setup there and just kind of like throw some numbers in preemptively that you can kind of switch on the fly. You see what I'm saying? And this is kind of how I would do it, nice and easy. Trade like a falling wedge back to the upside possibly. But I'd like to see us break above the 200. Because everyone freaks out like, oh, it's the 1 second chart. But you could do this stuff nice and calm. It may never hit the 200. May just watch it. There's a lot of watching involved. Just kind of hanging out on the trade, you know. Could be a divergence eventually, just like in real life. Like the 1 minute feels, the 1 second doesn't feel like, feels like some type of like video game or something. But yeah, like it would have worked here. Say you were watching this and then you saw it break out. Could have put a stop right here and then bang, would have nailed it. So just kind of hover on the 1 second and I play with my 21 and my 200 and then I have a 200 SMA to a smooth moving average. An SMMA, right? Sorry, an SMMA. Almost an inverted head and shoulder there. Like to test patterns on the 1 second too. Like, can that break to the, like shoulder, head, right shoulder? That should break up to the 200, right? Based on how I teach. Yeah, look at that. It's exactly crazy. It's just, and that should, if that breaks above the 200, right? That could be a nice scalp right there. Super hard to do. I am not a pro at the 1 second by any means. I can trade it here and there, but I am not a pro at it. Probably done it, I don't know, 50, 60 times in my life or something. I'd be careful, you know. Crazy though, the inverted head and shoulder, that would be in and out, like surgical, right? You hit the measured move, but it happens faster than you can even see it happen, right? But it's crazy. Anyway, we'll get out of there. We could do that all day long, and we could be in some other place, right? In our minds. It's crazy when you go places in time while you're trading, right? Because it's almost like you're time traveling or something. I don't know. I can't explain it, but like just then we weren't I felt like we were together, but we weren't here. We were we were somewhere else. I don't know. You were. I felt the same. I feel like you feel. You know, bit of a beautiful retest here, right? Seems like it's coming back to support. Wanted to make a bit of a move here. Remember, we still have this bigger target that really could be at play. We're deciding to retest here to the upside. You know, BOOKMAP was showing us signs of movements to the upside. We got all this movement up here, right? 67,000. Still got some big red. So let me take a look. We got some red here down at 63,290, which is the area that I keep saying is likely, right? But then we have some big red here too that we didn't have before at 67,320. And then we open it up. The closest red areas too are like right above us here, and then really 67.3. If we get back above 67,200, it would really be awesome. That's a key level that would be like a dream, because that's that next weekly idea, you know, and I'm just like so into TA doing what it's supposed to do. That would be awesome, right? Chance that this wants to play out here too as well for Bitcoin. 66,544. See this move up to about 67,561, right? And again, all this is propelled by my signal, my main signal, which is when we break this 200 on the 1 minute, we're gone. We're gone, right? So we could try to turn something like this too now. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, right? Again, rising wedges break down. 68%. We'll see. But this could be, you know, we have this support kind of coming in here. We wicked up, we wicked down on it. Getting low stochastic. We could get that short squeeze to the upside, right? So 1 to 5. If I get to 67, I want to look at the other time frames. So we didn't finish my top-down analysis yet either, right? So hold on. It's what happens when I get into the 1 second. I just it almost takes you to another place. It's like zooming into a microscope. Like if we are all in a microscope right now at school, and then we zoomed out, you'd be like, where was I? I was watching an atom, a tiny little atom, and I was in the zone. You know what I mean? So anyway, the 4 hour has a low, a high, higher low. That's a good thing, right? Period. You can't argue against that. We just got to break back above its 200 SMA, hang out. But this is a good sign. Usually in a bullish scenario, when you just get a little bit below the 200, it's really going to be one of your best places to accumulate. That's why if you saw me buy a lot of Bitcoin in here, I did. I chose this as a good place to buy, $8,000 worth of Bitcoin, at 65,003, 65,200 area. And again, I could be wrong. We might go lower and I'll buy more, but this was one of the lower, I bought some here too. You gotta buy really nasty red days. For me, I'm committed. Ever since I've been in Bitcoin, there's one thing I'm committed to. See, I didn't get into the trade. Something about it told me, Jerome speaking, it told me just be careful. Don't trade today, Sam. It's too much chop. You know what I mean? I may lose my edge. We hit our signal, and that was it. You know what I mean? We hit our signal, that was it. Try to get one of those a day, honestly, and then that's great. You get one of those a day, and you're paid, man. Pay yourself and move on. I mean, that's kind of the plan when it comes to that beautiful signal. And it was a beautiful signal. It went perfectly to plan. It did it, I waited for it. It hit, boom, right? It's actually still looking somewhat bullish to me. And a little bit of bearish div, though. 6666. I like how the moving averages got the move, right? 50-minute did break. Remember when I said last night, like when these are tight, you're supposed to hit the 200? 50-minute did that. Now, if the 50-minute flips this is going to be your super bullish. So here's the deal. If you flip this, boom, that's going to be an indication to long. The last time we flipped the 200 right there for the 15-minute was at least a nice futures trade. Another nice future trade. All right. And there. So 3 times in a row, it was a beautiful signal. It was clean. 4 times in a row. Right there, it was clean. Right there, it was clean. Right there, it was clean. And clean, what I mean by clean is once it passed the 200, you didn't get any funny business below. It went right above. A little bit of wickage near it. All right. Might have got you a little spooked. But for the most part, it did what it was supposed to do and kept it moving. Okay. It's a beautiful signal. So I'll be looking for this, you know what I mean, for the next 2-3 hours. And if I get that, I'm going to be confidently entering into a long for a big move to the upside too for Bitcoin. And it's likely to head back at least to the top of the range at 70,700. And, you know, then you're looking for some liquidity on BOOKMAP to back up the story here. It doesn't get high enough. And this is BOOKMAP. Link in the description below to BOOKMAP. I do get a commission if you jump on into BOOKMAP. I greatly appreciate that. And you can see we have this key areas here at about 67,370. All right. Shout out to the channel sponsor, I Trust Capital. Why do I trust capital? No, but I love I Trust Capital. Why? Because you know what? It's a Roth IRA. No one really looks out for retirement, right? Everything's kind of in and out in this crypto world, but this is long-term ideal. I have a lot of different coins there too that you can, you know, put into a long-term retirement, which is pretty crazy. And you can even do it with gold and silver. I find this really innovative and amazing. They even have coins like Shiba Inu, Hedera Hashgraph, and more. So check it out. You know what I mean? Just you may not know about it. You may want to learn more. Hit the QR code over there and find out more about I Trust Capital. It's really pretty interesting. And I'm really happy they're a channel sponsor, just to let you know. And I appreciate them. But I would only sponsor or hang out with, you know, someone or do business with someone that I really appreciate. And I really care about I Trust Capital. I like what they're doing. I like what they stand for. And they've been around. So check them out. And you can invest 24/7 if you want to get into the ETF, which some people want to do for long term. You can't buy that thing when Bitcoin, if Bitcoin tanks on the weekend, you can't get the great price on that ETF. But you can do it in I Trust Capital. So to me, I Trust Capital really has an advantage over a lot of other long-term ideas that people want to do for retirement when it comes to cryptocurrency. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. Talk to your, you know, CPA or your financial advisor about I Trust Capital today. And maybe something that that really gets you going. So there we go. Look, it didn't happen. See, it was enticing. Something told me to back off there. A little high. We got the move. Fake out, breakout so far, right? For Bitcoin. And again, now you look for the opposite move. Like, did you lose? Okay, we'll see. This is okay. Also, the 15-minute got some gaps away from its 21-day moving average, and it got rejected by what? The 200. The 200 is going to be your gap away up, and it's going to be your gap to take profits. People don't realize this, but I use it on multiple time frames. You can see that's not a coincidence. The bots will sell exactly on the 200s. I guess most people don't see it. I shouldn't tell as many people as I do about it because it's like a key. It's almost like you have a key to unlocking in and outs and ins, and it gives me so much confidence because when I see it, it always consistently reiterates the strength. Like even today when I see the rejection here, bang, you know. And when you're looking at a bullish move and you see us bounce, we'll bounce off one of these, and these will hold us, you know. 15-minute getting a little overbought, and the 1 hour to me just doesn't look amazing. And you know, I've been seeing this as a bear flag for most of the day that may just end nastily. You know, so that would take us further to 63,009, and then possibly that area I keep talking about, 63,250, 63,003, right? Not saying we're going there. I don't want to be the bearish guy, but you know. So let's kind of backtrack to where we started again, right? The weekly doesn't look amazing. Could pull back, right? A lot of people don't put faith in that. They say, oh, it's just a weekly chart. You could do anything, you know? Last time it curved down, we went up. So even when we started going, but we went a little sideways so we could kind of curve like this and still pump. And so I'm okay with that. And again, that's why I tell everybody, indicators are great and they teach you a lot. But sometimes, you know what I mean? They'll say you're going to go down and they'll just kind of do a little dip. And why? You'll hit you'll hit support. And through all my years of trading, I got into support or resistance, the simple things. And I laughed and I did all the crazy stuff, right? I had a bunch of different indicators. I really did. I went through them all. I won't even name them. But you know most of them that I probably touched. I touched them all. And I played with them all. And I eventually came back to these beautiful indicators here. And my ideas with the moving averages. And once I've really got in tune, and I tell everybody, because everyone tells me, why do you use the SMAs, not the EMAs? Why do you use this and not that? A lot of beginners will ask this question. Someone might ask it today. So I'm going to answer it for you right now. You will get good at any indicators you consistently use. If you use, you know what I mean? If you decide to use the 9 and the 34 moving averages and you wait for them to do something. If you use go pick any two you want. And if you eventually get accustomed to when they cross, and then when they cross, you take the trade. You see what I mean? People don't realize how much that comes into play. You see what I'm saying? It's your mind and where you're at that is the trade. I think that's what everyone thinks the trade is. They go in and then it happens. But you're like, it's you watching the market and finding your system and then letting your system play out. Like, look, I've been teaching you guys all about this 200 for years now. For years, I've been barking on it. And look, when the weekly got above here, I told you we were gone. When we stayed above it here on the 5 hour, I told you not to worry. I told you we were good to go. Everyone said we were going lower. There was a bunch of people out there that didn't know how to read the signal. I back tested it for years. And it's so simple. And I saw so many people saying, oh, it's going lower, blah, blah, blah. We can't do this. This is like comparing charts to Amazon from 1995. And I said, why don't you compare the Amazon chart when it got above the 5-day 200 SMA, right? And again, people think, oh, this is Bitcoin. He's teaching us Bitcoin. But what I'm trying to teach you is every single market in the world. Every single market in the world. So let me point out what I'm saying here. If I go and I look at Amazon stock, right? And look, it looks like it's going to break out somewhat bullish here in some type of flag. Look at this. Right? I mean, it already was, but you could have seen, like even last night, you would have seen tight moving. If you knew my system last night, or even, 2-3 days ago, if you saw this, you would have seen an ascending triangle, tight moving averages above the 200 SMA, right? Kind of making a parabola here for a bigger move to the upside. But anyway, what was the big catalyst? We got above the what? The 200 SMA there. Go to the 5-day chart. When was the last time we got above the 200? Right there. It's a very bullish sign, right? And that was the beginning of a big move. Right there. The last time you got above the 5-day was right back here. It means maybe the money printer go brrr, and like we might see a massive move here for Amazon. You could consider this kind of somewhat of a bull flag. And it just looks like we're going to be trekking further up somewhere to 283. So if you're into the stock market here and you have a golden cross in the 5-day chart, very likely that you're going to be doing, even if you pull back, very likely you're going to be higher than you are now a year from now into July or December of 2025, right? And you guys can hold me to this, watch this, see what happens here for Amazon, but it suggests that we are going to get some money printing going on. Look at the 5-day for Bitcoin and look at the last time that we got above. Same idea. When we got above here, look what happened. We were gone. Amazon is just getting above it right now. See, Amazon's, spend some time, but it's more like where Bitcoin is right here. See? So, like, I'm just, but you do whatever you want. I just only back tested this for years. It probably means nothing. I probably have no idea what I'm talking about. Probably just go back to the video game, Not worth it. I'm just an old man out of my mind. About to turn 41 years old, what do I know? You young whippersnappers know more than me. You find all the right little coins. So it's almost going to be 11. You should get excited for the list of coins I got for you. And something that's also just interesting. It's more than coins. It's kind of an idea. It's going to blow your mind. I think you'll be excited as much as I am. All right. So we got a little bit of a local support and resistance here for Bitcoin that's kind of holding us down. And let's talk about it, right? We have this bounce here. We have resistance. Kind of had a bounce, fell through resistance. Be kind of cool if Bitcoin could stay above 66,250 on the local area. And what we want to see is this 21-day moving average come on, hang out in price, have the 50-minute make some type of nice flag here, possibly continue to the upside for Bitcoin, right? I'm looking for the 15-minute to get above this 200 SMA. If we do not do that, we could likely get tight here and then get a dump down to the downside. A lot of times in a downtrend, when these do get tight, we get a dump down. That's why you don't want them to get tight in a downtrend. So you want them to get tight in an uptrend, right? See? I just flipped it upside down, but if you were going to trade this bullishly tight and we get a move up above the point of control and we get a nice bump, right? And when we dump, you have this far away and we dump down to it. You see what I'm saying? Just like we dumped down to the 4-hour 200 SMA. See how we dumped down to it? Like we were up here and we dumped down to the 200. Bang, right? Anyway, let me bring you back to the 15. I hope I'm not going too fast for you. I hope you understand what's happening here. So we dump down to the 15, right? We're upside down. We pump up to the 15. Understand? Okay. Well, when you lose the 15, you dump to the downside. It's like when we lost the 1 hour, right? Right here. And what happened? We dumped to the downside. You don't want to lose the 15-minute 200 SMA once you get back above it, right? But again, just like this, if we were to lose it, we would dump to the downside, right? I'm upside down. So I'm just showing you how the right side up 1 hour can teach us how to trade the upside down 15-minute and then flip it back to the upside. And then, you understand? Who here just was like, what? Huh? If that just blew your mind and you didn't know what just happened, it's a good thing, okay? Because you'll never see that again on any of
We begin right now with exclusive information on the...
You may never see that again, all right? You may never see that again. No, but seriously, what I just did was really serious. As much as I'm joking around, it's the basis to everything that I do. And it's like the secret sniper method of understanding how the charts work. By looking at it's like, it's like if you were to look at a project, you want to fly all around it, take an aerial, go underneath it if you could. You'd want to know everything, a 360 view of this information if you can, encapsulate it in your reality. And that's what I do here with Bitcoin, right? That's what you kind of want to do. We're pretty flat right now. It looks like we're going to stay flat at about 66,005 until Jerome Powell speaks in about an hour. All right. We got a wind warning here too as well. All right. And some heavy rain coming in Boston. So get inside, everybody. Hunker down. We got some heavy rain and high winds coming our way. All right. 66,500. We got liquidity above us that's deep red at 67.5, suggesting that's the closest and deepest when we zoom out there on BookMap. Shout out to all channel sponsor Decrypted.tax. If you or someone you know needs help with your taxes or crypto taxes, I'm not the one to call. But get yourself a professional at Decrypted.tax. They are the ones to call. And say, hey, I'm a lifer. They will hook you up with a free consultation, 25% off the standard pricing. Both those alone are probably worth $1,000, and that you get it through having the connection that I've already made for you. So take a look at Decrypted.tax. We really appreciate it. They are a channel sponsor right now during this time of tax season. So Crypto Lifer special pricing. Book a free consultation today or enjoy 25% off standard pricing for full tax preparation. Also, free consultation below or enjoy a 25% off. Okay. All right. Services mentioning when you hear about us, use your initial consultation. Book a free consultation or enjoy 25% off standard pricing for free services by mentioning where you heard about us during your initial consultation. Interesting. But jump on it today. I think it'll really blow your mind. All right. At Decrypted.tax. So we want to see this flag kind of flag on out and do damage. That's what we're looking at. So this is where like the 1 minute, the 7 minute, the 15 minute skills come in. All right. And this is where understanding what the 21-day moving average does and how it works comes into play. And this is how you're able to kind of really predict price action to the T. Because if this makes a flag and continues, then now you have the probability of the flag, which gives you a 68% chance or 70% chance rounded. And if the Stokes reset, that adds to like another, I say 5 to 6%. Now you're at about an 80% almost of accuracy, whether the thing's going to do what you think it's going to do. I mean, and it's pretty basic. It makes sense to me, right? And so you're looking for this to come back to the 21, make a flag, and continue. Now, if it breaks below the 21, okay, then it's going to look for the 200. If the 7-minute loses the 200 SMA, it's like we're making this bear flag and we're going to dump. Okay? You'll also, when you start to break the 200, you'll probably see the Stokes high like this, and they'll start to curve on you. And so what's likely going to go now is we're likely going to go sideways and make a flag. It's not likely we're going to get a huge dump at any time, but anything can happen at any moment. But I can even predict price action time to like what's going to happen for the next hour and a half. Like, I can be like, okay, we got the... So look, once we broke above the 1 minute, we were supposed to get a pump. We did. For whatever reason, that initiates a short squeeze almost every single time. And that's another thing that I figured out. I don't know why. Okay. Now we have a kind of look at shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder. Somewhat of a bearish pattern. These are far away. 1 minute doesn't look amazing. 7 minutes. And again, you don't have to get too deep now. Right now, we just kind of want to see what the 7 and the 15 minute are going to do. And then we know the 15 minute, it's either going to get crunched by the 200 and we're going to get the dump down and we're going to see us at 63 too, And it really depends. I feel like if he's hawkish, we dump. If he's bullish, we go sideways and we get above the 200. So like we're at a standstill. Based on the 4 hour, I'll tell you it's likely we get a pump to the upside, in my humble opinion. Based on this divergence, which I feel like is pretty strong on the 15, it's likely we get a move to the upside, and that was a liquidation event and the low of the week. But only time will tell, and I don't want to misspeak, but to me, the probabilities are we will get a move to the upside. I just want to confirm it. Everyone else wants to trade a probability. I want to trade almost something that has like a very high accuracy, and that's if we get above this 200 on the 15. Now, sometimes I front run it because it can be a giant candle that's too fast to get into. Okay? But that's why I also use the 1 minute to try to, initiate an initial entry by finding a smaller pattern. So this is kind of where I stand and where I sit for the day for BTC. All right. And the 1 hour could get a move back to the upside. The 4 hour has momentum, and we very well could come back up to this circled area that I just showed you. Even if we end up being bearish, we could end up doing that. Right? And then it would make sense, like we would just get tied up in here until Friday, Saturday, right? And then it's symmetrical triangle time, and Bitcoin would then even, and now we know exactly, now we kind of see what's happening. We break to the downside, we lose this point of control, we gap down, and then 52,000 is just right there waiting for us, like, hi guys. Remember, if we take this impulse to wick, that is our 618 golden pocket at 52K2. So like, it wouldn't be crazy to have some orders down there waiting for Bitcoin in case we ever get there. Unlikely, we may never even get even close. The chance we bounce from here and we're gone, and my thing is we must break back above 71,000. These three peaks here that we just, we'll call it 71.8 now. Yeah, 71,800 is like, once we get above that, we were so close to the all-time high. It was crazy. I figured it was like a biggest asset with just a little more push, and then we got above resistance, we were gone. But we triple topped right there and did the shoulder, head, and shoulder move to the downside, lost the 1 minute 200, and we were gone, right? And we toyed with the 1 minute, the 4 hour, but so far we've been kind of stopped. So today really will tell a tale here. We either kind of safely bounce back above this resistance on the local time frame at about 67,200, which is the weekly support too, right? Or we toy with this area and we fumble and we dump out of this bear flag and we probably test 63,300. So that's kind of, and we'll figure out by watching the 7 minute, see? And the 15 minute gets a clean move above this, we're likely pumping. We get rejected by this top trend line, no go, right? Something that I'm kind of, shoulder, possible head, shoulder, that could get us a move to the upside here for Bitcoin, but you never know. All right, and that's kind of BTC in a nutshell, right? As we head on into alt season and alt games, and we talk about what's happening in the alt world right now. But I got a lot of alts to talk about, a lot of things that I want to break down. And yeah, just some interesting concepts. Let's take a look at it, baby. Plurf, another one coming out. Dog with hat holding at 397. Looking pretty interesting. Pudgy Penguins has always been pretty hot. And, you know, with NYC NFT, you think NFTs would pump a little bit. They'd get a little more action. More people are coming out, finding out what they are. They don't even care about crypto, and they may be getting in. So you have to remember, it could be a pretty big day for some type of NFTs, and that can also spark the market. That's why I have Blur out there in the trading group, because I figured NFT NYC and Blur's, you know what I mean? I attempt to connect the dots for you if I can, right? And sometimes it's that simple, you know what I mean? And staying that simple is important. Funny, BOTTO. BOTTO just looks nice. Maybe it pumps, maybe it doesn't. I'm thinking of swing trading it. I'm not in it yet, but I'm thinking of jumping on it. Have you switched to the DEGEN network yet and had some fun trading DEGEN? Getting DEGEN airdrops. Airdrop 1, airdrop 2. Wow. Liquidity mining. Application error. But anyway, while I'm on base though, the DEGEN chain bridge. I thought I had DEGEN swap, or I had the DEGEN chain on my MetaMask. It's called D. Yeah, there it is, DEGEN. Gotcha, baby. And I got my DEGEN token. I even had some DEPE, man. Whatever happened to DEPE? Let's take a look at it. And Brett on base. And I apologize, when I did first look at this, I looked at Brett on Sol, but then I continually talked about base, and talked about how base is the chain. Then I showed how to bridge on base. And I talked about how I bridged on base, right? I like saying Brett on base. It just sounds nice. You know what I mean? Get Brett on base, man. And base could really blow up. So, you know, this is long haul stuff that we're doing, in my humble opinion. If you look at some of the bigger memes, it takes them time to really, really play out, right? But Brett is strong right now. Look at it on the daily candle. And I'm in Brett personally. I have a bag, so, you know. I got a whole meme portfolio, right? I got an AI portfolio. I have a gaming portfolio. I have a layered, you know, 1, 2, and 3 portfolio. I have a proof of mining portfolio with Caspa. You know, then I have Chainlink, Solana, and Atom, like the big boys. Like, I try to cover the big. Then I own, you know, I like DCAing into BTC and keeping myself, you know. And so I feel like I cover the gambit. I do some DeFi. I do some staking. I do some airdropping, right? Which reminds me, about getgrass.io, right? So I like what the 7 minutes doing. It's flagging out here, showing signs of life. Could be shoulder. Could be right shouldering, though, too, as well. We got a local resistance at 66.9. Pretty cool, though. We almost got to 67,000 even today. You know, 67.2, I'm telling you, because that's just our next hurdle to get back above. So we really want to get back above that key level. All right. Funny, I never thought we'd go over Amazon today. So a coin that I want to talk about right now, all right, is OXO, all right? I just want to talk about it, break it down, kind of put it on your radar. I don't own any yet. I've traded it on and off here and there, but I like this coin. I find it interesting. I don't have any at the moment at all. It's got a $333 million market cap. Of course, the second I look at it, it's 333. It's got an Ethereum address, which gets me a little bummed, but it's okay. It's on BitGet, LBank, X Markets, and CoinEx. It's hard to get, which usually is a good sign. For me, is a good sign. And with a pretty big market cap as well, right? I dealt with CoinEx before, definitely a VPN exchange, you know, tiny little guy. But OXO AI focuses on privacy, advanced AI-based safety tools, and a unique revenue-sharing model. With its cutting-edge technology, secure transactions, and opportunities for passive income, OXO revolutionized the DeFi landscape. Powered by advanced zero-knowledge proofs and AI, OXO ensures user privacy while offering a trusted and secure platform. Through its innovative revenue-sharing model, OXO redistributes 100% of generated revenue to token holders, aligning incentives and fostering a sustained ecosystem. Pretty interesting, right? Fully diluted market cap is only 50 billion away from the market cap now. 86% of the circulating supply you cannot get dumped on. It's got a solid market cap, a solid team, and it's definitely something you may want to pay attention to. Let's kind of deep dive into the website. Again, no one paid me to make this video. This is not a sponsored video. I want to make this very clear. I just like bringing you cool stuff that I think is fun. That's the cool thing about my channel. I get to talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. And that's what I love about it. I'm free. I don't have to wait for someone to be like, hey, you know what I mean? I do have channel sponsors, Decrypted.tax and iTrust Capital, and the biggest sponsor of all, CryptoLifer.com, each and every one of you. If you want to join the trading group, everybody, and know what I know, get the knowledge, find out what I'm looking at, understand when the 21 crosses, get all the signals that I'm basically sending a signal technically with Bitcoin. I'm showing you guys how to find a beautiful trading style. But again, you can mirror it to the way you do it as well. But up here in the pinned comment section, you can hit the link, go to CryptoLifer.com today, and check out what it's all about to be inside my trading group. Join today, and join today. You know, I haven't taken a day off since February of 2021. The live stream has gone day in and day out. And again, if another cool thing is join our newsletter, put your email address, hit consent, and subscribe as we give you your next awesome coin. So the first coin, OXO, and we just wanted to deep dive that website. Take a look at kind of what it looked like. Privacy, security, and confidentiality. A comprehensive privacy solution featuring a variety of AI-based safety tools that redistributes 100% of the revenue to the holders. So it's got a DEX anti-rug AI, okay, which is pretty interesting. The anti-rug bot is a tool currently in development to help protect users from scams in the DeFi space. It works by using advanced algorithms to analyze transactions and detect suspicious behavior, such as setting attacks too high or removing liquidity. If the bot detects any suspicious behavior, it'll automatically front-run the transaction, preventing users from getting rug pulled. Pretty interesting, right? I mean, we're going to have a suite of tools. So anyway, I really think this is interesting. You may want to dive in. I've always liked it. And yeah, I've been researching it for about 4 or 5 months now, on and off, maybe even more than that. And I like it as a project. Might even turn it into a long-term hold for me. Where do I think it could go? I mean, a $3 billion market cap makes sense to me. A 10x, and I believe a 20x isn't out of the question for OXO. And again, that's my speculation completely, just based on the market cap, the circulating supply, and kind of the demand for something of this nature. If they continue to build what they build, and I can see it getting to MEXC. I'm not sure why. Maybe it already is, but right now, sometimes it is and they don't say it is. Maybe, let me double check, but I don't think so. Oh, yeah, you got to go to all because... Yeah, it's on BitGet CoinX. Let's take a look. So, oh, wow. So when it just came out on CoinX not too long ago, right? In March, which is interesting because I've known about the coin for a while. I look at it here. I'm going to take the contract address and take a look at it here. All right. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Stephen Curry, all the way from downtown. Just had to hit you with that. All the way from downtown, back to pass. Wayne Gretzky, all the way from... He shoots, he scores. Blessings on blessings to be alive. Shout out to everybody here who knows you are the opportunity in life. There's nothing better than knowing that the opportunity is you. And from you, through you, somehow, some way, all things will come. All right? We don't know how, but through gratitude and greatness, we do. We do know how, through gratitude and greatness, honestly. And, it's hard to be jealous in fear or in pain or wanting to hurt someone when you're full of gratitude, right? So look at this thing. It's making a nice little bull flag here. Despite what's happening for Bitcoin too, it's looking pretty healthy. If it can stay inside this bull flag, may even come down a little bit more. But if it can stay inside a flag of this nature, this thing could do some damage. All right. The fact that it's doing what it could do, lock liquidity, And again, they go after people that rug, so you'd be like, if they rugged, it would be insane. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I mean, hey, I've seen it. I think there was a coin called, like, anti-rug or something, and they ended up rugging. It was just, of course, right? Someone might remember the coin, right? But, wow, so I like what I'm seeing possibly for OXO, too, as well, you know? Now, you could trade it on the other exchanges or the DEX. It probably costs a little more here, but you could probably bridge to Optimism. You know what I mean? And pay a little fee. So because there's still ways to bridge and then just start getting what you need. But yeah, just next coin I want to talk about is OPSEC. I just think these are worth looking at. Some of them I can't, you know, I have too many coins. I can't even grab anymore. So I just want to hope someone kind of can live off my research here and find out a little more of what's happening. Now, OPSEC I've been trading on and off. It's not like it's new. We put it out when it first came out at like 50, 60 cents or something. It's already up at 4x. It's been doing damage, and it barely really pulls back much, right? Let's take a look at OPSEC here for you. Bitcoin getting a little bit of a pullback. See the rejection. And you keep watching this, you know, the 7 and seeing what the 7. And again, you don't know. The projections are all there for us to watch, but you just keep kind of tweaking them. We know if we lose the 7-minute 200 SMA, we're likely there's going to be a bigger dump now. Had the 7-minute went more sideways, it kept going sideways, right? So the 7-minute already is showing us bearishness. Okay, we don't have to wait. And you just see a red candle on the 1 minute, on the 1 hour, you wouldn't really be able to kind of. This is like hand-on information. The 1 minute's like someone telling you. The 7 minutes like being on the boots on the ground, right? Kind of like an M pattern here, somewhat of a head and shoulder. And again, resistance for Bitcoin at 67,000, 66.9. So we take a look at OPSEC. So we were first talking about OPSEC when it first, came out super early, even before you could get it on the exchanges, right? Only when it was on Uniswap. I mean, we were tipped off by Token Metrics when it first came out, and I looked at it. There was a lot of opportunity a few weeks back, even just like you could 10x. Like a month and a half ago, you could 10x anything, really. You still can. It's not over yet. It's not, we're not even close. There's going to be a lot, but we had a pretty good frenzy going on before Bitcoin kind of, just gave us a little bit of a jolt of reality here that it's not always up. Seeing if it's going to make that bounce and continue. Yeah, not a lot of information on the bigger time frames. And I see this thing getting pretty big. OPSEC, okay? OPSEC's mission is to explore, implement, and guide the creation of a secure, efficient, and decentralized digital ecosystem. OPSEC addresses the limitations of current infrastructure, aiming to foster a more democratic, resilient, and secure internet. As a decentralized physical infrastructure network, DPIN, baby, OPSEC utilizes the most advanced AI technology to build, maintain, and operate blockchain infrastructure that ensures the security and privacy of your blockchain applications. So it's like decentralizing the idea of, and for some reason, couldn't get to the website right now. I'm not sure about that for whatever reason. But OPSEC Cloud, 33,000, definitely something you want to look at. AI-powered decentralized cloud security. All right. Blender is another coin that we've been researching on and off. I just actually found out about it a couple weeks back on the radar. All right. OPSEC with Vitalik. Anyway, you may want to just kind of get your hands dirty and research OPSEC. All right. Bitcoin's still inside the flag here as we jump into your third hot coin every day at 11. We're going to take a look here at CyberConnect. All right. CyberConnect, which is in a little bit of a flag here. And I could see this thing, if it can stay above 12 and we don't get a huge market dent, I could see this thing going parabolic and continuing to into the 30s and 40s even. CyberConnect. I own none of this coin. I don't know anything about the project or the team. You know, like they don't know me. I don't know them. This is not a sponsored video of any type. I want to make this very clear. Yet again, it's just something that I'm looking at. I just like to go over coins and talk about them. I'm passionate about it. And I find this project very interesting. The 8-hour time frame, which is my go-to, looks very bullish and a bit of a double bottom here. And so, yeah, it looks interesting to me. And I was looking at it already, I believe, when it was down at about 12. It's already up about a buck at $13.93. And I could see it once it gets above $14.70. I mean, price discovery, basically, it's gone. So it's very close to price disco and its previous high there. And I'm interested to see what's happening with Cyber Connect. All right. Give you a little broad, quick little intro to Cyber Connect so you can know what it is and what happens and what it's doing. Coin number 260 with a $264 million market cap. You know, not a lot of the supply out, very small, but that's okay. That could come out gradually over time. I like this right here. It's got a BNB Smart Chain address and an Optimism address, so you don't have to kind of stick there on Ethereum and pay high fees. I think that's very smart. Everyone should do that now. Should be a backdoor to your coin to make it, you know, multi-chain. If not, you're kind of missing out. It's on multiple exchanges, more than you could count, right? So it's everywhere. You're never there. No, it's funny, but it's everywhere, right? Including our baby MEXC. It's even on Velodrome Finance V2, which is pretty awesome, right? So like you can get this thing, dexes and sexes all over the place, and it's there, right? And so I like this. It's interesting to me. Cyber Connect, all right? Let's take a look at their website. Hope this one loads. Not sure what happened to OPSEC. They may be working on it. We'll take a look at it tomorrow. Hope it's up. Introducing Cyber, the social layer 2 with restaking. All right. OPSEC, EGEN DA in native, right? Cyber is built on hyperscale. EIGEN DA, or low-cost data availability security, is achieved with ETH staking. So EIGEN layers. You see what I'm saying? EIGEN layer. OPSEC. Cyber L2 is built on the OPSEC with benefits of modularity and standardization. We're joining the superchain for interoperability and shared economics. Decentralized sequencer and verifier, right? So Cyber Connect. Seedless and self-custody. Cyber L2 supports native passkey and a seedless user experience with 100% self-custody. Cyber staking. Cyber governance, economic reward. So look at this, 3333333. It's so funny. Airdrop to cyber stakers. ZK token check availability. Claim will end April 8th. So you can get a ZK token here on Polyhedra. Pretty crazy, right? 179 high APRs. Just be careful of that. I'm not all about the high staking stuff. I used to be cool about that. Now I'm kind of more just about the project. If there's some high staking, maybe, possibly, but you know, be careful. The first flagship social app on Cyber. Link 3 is a Web3 professional network where verified identities meet value-based communication, powered by Cyber Connect. So you can build multiple accounts on top of it. I like the EGEN layer. I like alt layer, alchemy. Interesting things here. Optimism. You got multi-chain multi-coin capital there. Binance Labs. Sky9, I watched them. Animoca Brands is a backer. You see that? Usually when Animoca Brands is involved, I get excited. They like to win. So this is interesting, man. And again, yeah. So those are some 3 hot coins on your radar you may not have known about to keep you going, to keep you flowing, and to keep you excited. Who here likes that little 3 hot coins every day that we're going to do a little segment at 11 o'clock to keep you going and keep you banging on them? All right. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Let's take a look at the fan funding and see what's happening. God bless each and every one of you for being here and sharing your most precious asset, which is your time. All right. Let's bring the music down here. Let's take a look. Hey, Lifer, can you check Zeta Chain? God bless. Yes, Sam, I made the decision. All right. To make the leap. I'm joining your group today to get started. I'm making the gains. Thank you for your inspiration to the changes, the lives of many and myself. Thank you, Jeff, for coming on in. I really appreciate that. Hey, Lifer, can you check Zeta Chain? I will check Zeta Chain. Zeta. Catherine Zeta Chain. King, thoughts on Orange short midterm? I like Orange. We'll take a look at that. Thank you for the super chat. B Frank Crypto Sam, wouldn't the move start on the 1 minute when you see hidden bullish divergence? Thanks again for the knowledge. Yes, it may. 100%, my friend. But you want to wait for confirmation sometimes on a day where things aren't the best. Shout out to Sensi Palas. Where do you see the symmetrical triangle and GMX breakout? Up or down? And thank you for the 5th super chat on a live stream from Sensei Palas. Morning, can you please look at HXD Honeyland and active Web3 game on Solana? Transparent team getting listed on MEXI and other exchanges. Honeyland, wow. HXD. Thank you for saying that. Can you look at, and so what is HXD? Let's take a look. HXD here. Honeyland. $41 million market cap, pretty small on Solana. Honeyland, right? I mean, you have resistance here, right? But you're breaking out of this long trend finally, right? Not too shabby. Got that curve too, which, you know, I've seen pump. Let's go to the 4 hour for this puppy. Hold on 1 second. So, I mean, we got this key level that you want to break back above is 21. Once you get above 21, you're headed right to 30. And then all-time highs at 43 and above into 43. So, Ryan Reynolds, Jokester token, funny. $40 million market cap. Now, I don't see the lock liquidity. See that? I'd be very careful. Isn't liquidity supposed to be locked right there? I don't know. Maybe there's a reason for that. It's like a generating token, or I don't know. But I always used to see liquidity locked right there. I'd be careful. You know? I'd be careful, everyone. You know? Also, to the beginners out there, like, you know, I would learn how to trade first and get my bearings before I would just went completely ape, you know, meme hunting, you know. At the same time, people are going to do whatever they want, right? And I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice, but I would tell you that I caution, you know what I mean? I got into memes, but I was able to make some money trading first, you know what I mean? It's like you kind of earn the right to play with a meme, in a way, in my humble opinion. But again, so see this green? This is good. I mean, previous resistance, you don't want to lose this point of control here. You want this flag to play out when you touch the 21. This would be the next big trade here to the upside for Bitcoin. All right. If I want to take a look at what we're doing. And again, I don't get they don't give me the 7 minute here, which is kind of a bummer. But you know, 5 minutes close enough when I need to get busy. And again, I kind of, you know, told myself, I always say I'm not going to trade on Jerome Powell Day, and then a lot of times I trade anyway. But today, I should stick to my rules. I do like this flag, though. It's hard to not get into something that 21, low stochastic, inside the flag, previous support or resistance. Look at an Adam and Eve right here, too. And kind of a flag after the Adam and Eve. A lot of times I do see the flag after the Adam and Eve play out nicely. 479 risk-reward ratio. I at least need to put it in to see how it feels. That's what I love about having this here. Just kind of put in the trade, see how it feels, see where you're at. 67.7. 67. 667. 7 minute abs. So you're risking like 130 for 400, 150 for 5. It ain't bad, right? Touching the 21. Many times you get a nice pump right when you touch that 21, right? Jerome Powell Day, though, it's tough. Shout out to Crypto.tax gifting 50 memberships again, man. Just keep pouring it on. You just don't stop, man. I really appreciate it. Can you look at Monkey Empire, just listed on MEXC? Celebrate the first super chat by Journey Jones. Can you look at a possible trade in Barrick Gold Mining, please, sir? Gold. Steve Livingston. Can you look at the market cap and liquidity of CROB, just launched today on the Kronos VVS liquidity pool? Wow, they're coming in hot right now. So can we hold the zone right now? This would be it here for Bitcoin. Nice entry at 66.384 on the low with the red, but I get spooked out by Jerome Powell Day, man. It really tells me to chill. Banking holiday coupled with non-farm is always terrible, PA. Love you, bro. Amen, man. Yeah, bank holiday coupled with non-farm week is always terrible price. Oh, yeah. But a signal is a signal. Like, look, the 1 minute still, that's what I think I love about this 1 minute signal. You get a candle above the two, you're gone. But look at that. That wants to kind of take you down. Kind of a double M there, but we'll see. Could flip. But 100% agreed. Horrible day to trade based on just kind of what we're going through this week with the parameters at hand. You know? Still looks good to me, though. The setup is there. Look at this Adam and Eve playing out. So crazy, right? Shout out to Master Friend. We love you. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here. And everyone, if you want to learn more about trading like hardcore leverage every single day of your life, or you like getting funded and stuff like that, that interests you, jump on in. We have an awesome, cool, funded trader in my trading group that can teach you all about that stuff. $300 if you want to learn more. You have to be in the trading group for that extra addition. Hit the QR code or the link below to jump on in and find out more with Master Friend. All right. So see this beautiful flag here. Could go up further. 67,007 would be the target. We have to hold really this resistance here. If the second we lose it, we hit the 200. We lose the 200. We dump to the downside. All right. And hurry up and get those memberships. Let's get them done quick, everybody. Let's see if we can can we get them done all at once. I'm just joking. Can you review ENA, please? Yeah. Shout out to D-Dubs. Hey, I'm from the universe. Tonight will be the dump to 63.8. He's from the universe. Let's go. Shout out to Lifer Adam. By Mogo. Did you see Port? No. When is Powell on today? At about 12:10, he's on today. At about 12:10. Hey, everyone, let's get the likes up to the watchers. I would greatly appreciate it. Be as generous with the likes as you are with the super chats. Wow, I've never seen it. You guys throw more money at me than you throw super chats, which is pretty awesome. I'm not complaining, honestly. I mean, then you throw more super chats than you do likes. I'm not complaining. More in super chats than likes, right? You guys are so loving, man. I really appreciate it. Nicest people in the world are the lifers. I attracted the nicest people in the world, the strongest people, the people that live in love. I got super lucky when I went with the frequency of my channel, man. You guys are awesome. So we got to look at Monkey Empire. We got to look at Barrick Gold. Let's take a look at Monkey Empire and see what's happening. Another new coin there, Honeyland. I didn't see that liquidity was locked, though. I don't know what's going on there. Monkey Empire. I don't know. Is it Monkey? I'm not sure which one we're talking here. Is it on Solana? Just listed on MEXC. MCK. All right, you said it already. Thank you. MCK. MCK. Monkey Empire. The Monkey Empire. R. Might have to spot it out, right? And check it out if it's applicable in your territory, because we're run by tyrants and territories, basically. But if it's applicable in your territory, 0% spot maker and taker fees if you hold the MEXC token on MEXC. The best fees in the game, like the zero amount. Look, only 0.2% taker fee. It's really nothing compared to the rest of the market. And 0.1% spot taker fees, too. And if you have a problem, get an RNSID today. Pretty awesome. KYC on MEXC Exchange. So check it out, man. Low fees, high profits, if you know how to trade, right? But 0.1% spot maker and taker fee here on MEXC. All right. I'm going to go to their spot account here and see what's happening. And we're going to take a look at this. And whiff, back at 392, doing some damage. Is whiff going to get a bit of a pump here with the sideways price action? We will see. Only time will tell. Are we in for a massive dump down? Solala the koala, the next big on Solana. Please check it out. Solala the koala. Oh my gosh. I don't think I can do it, man. You guys can check it out on your own. I appreciate it. I can't bring up every single thing. Yeah, I just can't. I gotta have some integrity here. So this thing just came out. When it comes out, you gotta look at it like the 1 minute chart, right? I'll be honest, I've had some good luck, I guess, just buying coins on the bottom here. But again, be careful. That doesn't mean it's gonna, and I'd be super careful. But look for it to possibly maybe make some type of bottom. Maybe shoulder, head, right shoulder. So, you know what I mean? But I don't know. You know, there's nothing I could say. It just came out. You know, to me, that's just, you know, that's just taking a shot. You know, there's really not much TA you can do on that at that point. So. Price prediction for DEGEN base. I mean, I don't really know DEGEN base, right? I mean, let's think about how swaps go. I always kind of go back to Pancake Swap, right? And it definitely hit a $6 billion market cap. So a 10x is simply easy to me. I could see it get to 10 billion, right? Only got a $700 million market cap now. Yeah, I mean, I could see it get to 10 billion. So I could see a 10x from here. Could it get to 50 billion? Even that's very possible too. So it could 50x from here, in my humble opinion. But I mean, we're entering a whole new world. How much money will come into the market? How long will the bull run last? It's hard to speculate. You know, if we get to a $7 trillion market cap, then yeah, I think this thing could go easily to 50 cents. And then, you know, I've seen these things go from 60 cents to $44. So this thing's already 5 cents. This thing could go to, it could be $10 one day. You never know. I mean, I'm open-minded. You know, $5 isn't that far-fetched for me. Could it 100x? I don't know if it 100x, actually. So maybe more like, yeah, 50 cents would be a 10x. $5 would be 100x. Maybe it can get to like $1.50. But I think this thing is interesting. Right? And it's definitely, you know, some of these things are just worth getting in, you know, look at the low, see where it goes. And again, it's all on base, baby. Base is blowing up, like, and there's more stuff going on base than we even realize. Right? Had it in this nice little flag, came on down. But if we look at it closely, right, and we take a look at the fibs, we're going to take a look. It came down to this key area too, which I don't mind. You know what I mean? Sorry. I like this track, but I don't know if everyone else is. So we bounced off this 618 golden pocket. It's just crazy from there to there, like how well these things respect Fibonacci. It's almost as if like people just do what they're supposed to do, even with these memes. And again, this is a low market cap for such a big ecosystem that could really blow up. And everybody wants to be called DEGEN. They took the name. They took the brand. Everyone already, that's the brand. It's a name, right? It's like, I mean, they're on it now. So you can't stop it. So it just, it is what it is. How this thing doesn't, if everything else can go up, how come this won't, right? Again, I own a very small amount of this. I want to see what happened to DEPE, DEGEN Pepe, right? On base. And it slipped down a little bit with Bitcoin, but still kind of sideways, just getting started, you know. Market cap's very small with this thing. This is patience, in my humble opinion. No one really knows about this thing. It's got to catch on. You know, it's DEGEN Pepe, and I just don't see how it doesn't blow up. All right? It's kind of difficult to get. You got to go to Mint Club. All right? Like, no one even knows how to buy this thing. That's the problem. It's like on the low. You got to go first. You got to bridge to DEGEN, to the DEGEN chain, to get your DEGEN. All right. And then, where did I bridge DEGEN on? At DEGEN Swap. Right. Bridge DEGEN.tips. Right. So bridge ETH, DEGEN, or any other token to the native DEGEN on the DEGEN chain. Okay. And so right here you could bridge. Once you got the token, you could go to Mint Club and grab up DEGEN Pepe. All right. It's not easy to do. It's kind of like they make it like you kind of have to know what you're doing, you know, and the transactions are a little like, you know, if people are jumping on in, they're a little like, you know, like what happened there. And you kind of have to wait a second. But it went through, and I got my DEGEN Pepe. And we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? I'm bullish, and I'm interested. And it's all for fun, right? I put what I'm willing to lose, and we'll go from there. Nasty dump to the downside. See? This is why I don't just jump in. This is why I didn't trade. Look at that. Now, if we lose the 200, though, we're going to dump. You can see this is going to be a key area here. You don't want you lose that. Boom. To the downside. And then the 1 hour takes over for the dump. You see? See how the 7 minute. Maybe someone was going to trade the one hour, right? Or another time frame. And see, that flag helps us now. Completely helps us. And again, the 15 minute never got back above the 200, which was our sign. Like, I know this. So like everything makes 100% sense to me right now. Like, I'm not like in awe. I'm not like what happened. Like, this all is like, oh yeah. And then I see us in a channel. We hit the top of the channel as a pattern trader. Top, bottom of the channel. Until you assume that you're going to stay inside of a channel until you don't. Until you either go up or down, right? And then you look at the stochastics and they usually give you the answer. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if this 1 hour just kind of takes us down to 63,000. The 1 hour does not look good right now. All right. And here we are about to challenge 65.5 yet again for Bitcoin, right? And so, like, you know, lately it's been hard to take profits because coins have been hot. Like ATR has been, you know, we've been trading this on and off in the trading group, right? And it's been tough. But look, I looked at the 8 hour. I looked at the pump. I saw a little bit of bearish div here. Right? Look, and I decided I'm out for now. You know, I got in at 2.6 for 7 and went all the way up here to like 6. We turned that into like 23 or something. Got back in here, turned it into something again. Got back, you know, it just continues to really be an amazing coin. And so this swing trades on this really got me through this Bitcoin dip because like you gotta need that adrenaline, right? And when you're making 20 grand on a swing trade, it's hard to be, you know, to be down. And again, my portfolio is huge, so it probably taken 10 to 15 grand bangs, you know, or more. And it's nice to make up half of the loss of that day, or even sometimes more than the loss on that swing trade, right? And to have capital now to buy Bitcoin on the dip. So like I was able to turn this coin into like some more, like almost a third of a Bitcoin, which I find is absolutely beautiful, right? So you do what you have to do to get by, right? Hey, Lifer, greetings from CT. Can you check out Mute? I got the airdrop in my Phantom wallet, and it's done well, but I'm itching to dump it for Solana. Interesting. Did I get any Mew? No, right? I got Cat with Hat for some reason one day. I don't even ask for it. I'm like weary of that. You know, so I don't know. This thing's been on a beautiful tear. If you can see, even from really 7, it's on 0.7 up to 9. It's like 7 going to 90, right? And I could be wrong. You know, I may miss out, but both times that we got these kind of ideas, movements here, we did get a pullback on these points. So I did take some profit, everybody. And, you know, I'll let you know. But again, it looks pretty bullish. You know, I may eat my words here when this thing blows out of this flag to the upside and I miss out on the best price ever on a long-term asset. So I may snipe back in for a smaller bag and just kind of leave, finally just kind of put what I'm willing to lose in and walk away. It just, every time I say that, I make the position so big and then I got to like, I almost got to swing it again because I'm just, you know, I'm getting heavy. So that's been the good and bad thing about this coin. You know what I mean? I believe it's kind of a really good fundamentally, it's got RWA written all over it. Okay. It's a real world asset marketplace, which to me is just, you know, so if RWA does good, this just gets to move with it because it's a utility of the marketplace, which I find really good. And that's an interesting concept to me. All right. So it's definitely something you want to pay attention to getting into an exchange, something that's going to connect you to the real world. All right. I like this idea for ATR. Our trade, getting further up to possibly 12.5 too, is definitely something to pay attention to. Let's get the likes up to the watchers. That would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for the love. God bless you all for doing that. 11:37. Dun, dun, dun. And Powell will speak at about 12:10. Might as well just power through. Boom. So yeah, does this flag continue to the upside, or does the 8-hour take over more? I'll tell you what, usually when the 8 hours this far away from the 21-day moving average, we get some type of pullback closer to it, or we at least go sideways. Even if we pump up, we're likely going to come back down maybe somewhere, and I could be wrong, and I could miss out. The thing is, I believe that God will give me another opportunity. So if I keep telling myself there's opportunity, there is. So maybe there's a better coin than this that I don't even know about yet, that I can sink my teeth into. So I'm open-minded to believe that there's always great things coming, and with that thought, the great things are always do come. You're in control of your reality because you are. I always teach this. Your subconscious mind forms and manifests at every given moment and second. So you got to constantly be in a state where you're molding and manifesting. If you're having trouble with that, you got to read some good books, walk out of nature, meditate, get off of the whatever. I can't tell you, but get off of things that are pulling you down. Get off of things that bring you down. Alcohol is a depressant. It depresses you, A lot of people are taking things that are making them feel down, wondering why they're feeling down. Why am I low energy? Why can't I move? Why am I not ready to move all the time? All right. Hey, Lifer, greetings from CT. Kid Maxi, yeah. Price prediction for DEGEN base. And he's asking about Mew now. All I can keep hearing about is Mew, and Mew, right? Had it in this flag, came up, went right, but it looks interesting. It's got the rounded bottom. Tristan, it's a rounded bottom. How many times I have to tell you, if it's not going to be that way, it's not right there. If I get a Bugatti and I drive a Bugatti, listen, you brokey. No, I had it for a second there. I can work on it. My Tate impression. When you're in the ring, you have to be in the ring. There's nothing else. No. I lost it. I don't want to do it without doing it perfectly. Have to make them laugh. It has to be done right. I like what I'm seeing here from you on Soul. You see, it's got the cup and the handle. It's getting tight. That's all I need, really. This thing, I hear about this thing all over the internet. It's got buzz. My channel picks up on whatever's hot. You get what I'm saying? That's if you come to this channel, you're gonna know what's hot. That's just spending 2 hours with me. You're gonna know about almost everything that's happened in that day. I may miss some things. I'm not gonna get every single thing. We don't get it all. I wish we did, but you're gonna get a lot of information about what's hot. It's gonna break it down. So look at this beautiful cup and handle, possibly moving even further to the upside. I like what I'm seeing here from you on Soul, right? And make sure this is on Soul, not on base, not somewhere else. This is Mew on Soul, and we're hearing a lot about it all the time. And again, I don't own any. I don't think I'm going to touch it. I'm memed out. I'm kind of memed out. There becomes a time where you just got to stop. I keep buying one, then I'll buy another. Then eventually you got 10, 20. And when does it end? It will never end. You know what I mean? And eventually you'll look back and realize that you could have had a lot of real solid assets that made sense instead of chasing 1,000 memes. But again, someone might do this, and eventually the 100th meme they hit might finally pay for all the pain. I don't know how it works. The meme game is almost its own game. Some people are like you almost have to just do memes all day long, right? These are all extremely high risk with absolutely no utility. All right, will probably be gone in a few months to a year. unlikely they'll stand the test of time. All right. Someone's going to get left holding the bag. That's a fact in almost every one of these coins from Pepe on down. So just, I got to reiterate these facts. You do whatever makes you happy. The original Pepe coin, to me, is gaining some steam too at $5.66. The original Pepe, man. Wow, we covered a lot of stuff today on the channel. Let's take a look at the DXY because we have to. Bitcoin bounced off the bottom of the channel here inside of a nice little range. 7 minutes saved the day with the oversold stochastics. Can we get the bounce? So far, so good. Back above the 200 on the 7 minute over here. Look at that. If the 1 minute gets back above, we may get our signal yet again. And no matter what happens, you could just trade this signal all day long. Right now, we are bearish. We broke below the 200 on the 1 minute. Bearish signal. Looks like you're in a bit of a bear flag that may continue to the downside here, like so. Target would take you to 65,400 for BTC. Everybody, I'm moving. For the next 2 weeks, I am packing up my entire house and getting ready to move. Don't worry, I got a team. I'm always going to be in the charts. I have my computer at a stand-up desk here so I can pack, be in the charts for an hour. Pack for a half an hour, be in the charts. And I got my alerts on. I'm always watching the charts. But I just do want to let you know that if I personally may not be in as many heavy trades as I used to be because I got a lot on my mind and I'm trading and I'm packing and stuff like that. So just went up, Anyway, I just gave you this bear flag to the downside and it just literally regurgitated on us and spit up on us right now. Blah. Just blah. You know what I mean? It was likely going to happen. Why? Because we lost the 200 and we made a bear flag. Just like if we got above the 200 and we made a bull flag, I'd be more bullish to get into that. Same thing, I'd be more bearish to get into this. I'm bearish. I'm sorry, I'm bearish. I don't mean to be. All right? The bearer of bear news. I don't mean to be the bearer of the bear news, my friends. It is what it is. I'm so sorry about it. All right? But we got to show you what's going to happen no matter what, up or down in the chats. Still some chop, we get this bounce, but more likely we're going to get a dump to the downside here, in my humble opinion. Target takes us to 65,000. And look, now we got liquidity here and here in 63K. Look, they want to bring it down. Look at that red box right here. That coincides with the area that I got cooking. Just like this. Send it, baby, send it. 65,500. Let's go. Send it on down, baby. Simple stuff. Just like when you're trading a bullish flag, you wait for price action to hit the 21 in the flag. Bang. We were waiting for this on the 7 minute time frame. We didn't get it. Right? We wanted the 7 minute to beautifully hit a flag. It just eventually dumped. That's why the 1 minute is key, especially on volatile days when you're not sure what's happening with price action. All right? Bit of a double bottom here at 65,800. I would love a daily close above 65.5. That's all I want today at the end of the day. That's all I'm looking for. Okay. Let's take a look at our DXY and see what's happening on the DXY. Okay. So far, we did get rejected by the top of that trend line. Thank goodness. So we did get a move back to the downside. What that indicates is, look, we still got our structure in play for our gigantic complex head and shoulder. If this plays out, as we've been speaking about over and over again, the shoulder, the head, the shoulder, it'll be a monumental dump for the dollar. This will be like a bear flag. This will be the length of this thing we will see it somewhere at 94. Definitely tussle with this area here. This is our next big area that you'd like to see the dollar come down to. So it's crucial we don't break back above 105 or 107, because if we do, it's like it negates this beautiful pattern we've been working on now since February of 2023. We've been doing this for a year, like watching this whole thing evolve. Even longer than that, 3 years really. or go over the DXY almost every single day of my life and break it down. Bitcoin getting a nice bounce off the bottom trend line there for the double bottom, but can it hold? Can it olito? We don't know. We don't know. Could just be a bearish retest to continue down. Still a double bottom. You have to respect it until you break the low again. They may sweep the lows, make people fake that out and just bloop. I'm going to wait for Jerome to speak and see what happens at 12:10. In about 10 minutes, he's going to jump on in and we're going to figure this out together like we do every single day. All right. Blessings on blessings to be alive. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all for jumping on in and sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. All right. I will tell you the probability is likely that the 4-hour gives us a bounce back to the top of this channel, just because we're likely to go back to the top area of the range. This would also be cool. Shoulder, shoulder, head, right? I just, so when you see me bearish trading, I just, I'm telling you what the smaller time frames are giving us. I want to see them reverse. I want them to change. I want them to get busy, baby. Let's take a look at our 1 minute, because we may be getting a signal here. A beautiful double bottom on the 1 minute time frame. That's a double bottom if I've ever seen it. There's your target. A gap in the VRVP could get us back to the 200. We break above the 200, we could be gone again. It's a bit. This is the money printer right here in a bit, or unless you wait for one more kind of. You might want to wait for the handle on the money printer. You can pull the Fibonacci here from wherever we get to and see if we can come back to a 786 on the side plank. Right. This is how you find reversals, using the 1 minute and divergences. Kind of have a swing up there. RSI is a little, not amazing, but there's a little movement up here while there's a movement down there. Swing down while that swings up. That is a divergence. It's very slight. Beautiful double bottom for Bitcoin, bouncing off 65,700, 65,008. And the 8s are always strong too. And we got that support for Bitcoin on the weekly at 65.5. I do not want to see us lose that. We've been kind of just struggling around those areas for a while now. What must go up must come down. What must come down must go up. It was better off that we started the week going down for a move back to the upside, right? What if we started the week going up? Then they'd have to go get the shorts, right? You'd rather dump straight up on Monday and Tuesday, right? And recover throughout the next couple weeks than have to go further up and have the pain. So, you get the dump out the way so you can get the recovery back in action. Especially for the month, too. You want to dump at the beginning of the month? Probably a better off move so the month can expand back to the upside by the 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th. That way the next dump comes at the end of the month. Hopefully. You see? So many coins to talk about, so many things to look at today for Bitcoin. I'm just weary of the market today until we hear this man speak. Let me take a look at where we see this guy speaking. All right. Let's take a look here. 65,970 for Bitcoin. Attempting to get back above this key level now, 66,000, right? Again, kind of shoulder, head, and right shoulder there. But again, this would be the money printer like we showed you. There's your dump. There's your cup. Do you come back down for the movement back to the upside? I just would wait for the 1 minute to break on the 200. Again, just like I did earlier for the signal. Okay. In and out, take my money, call it a move, right? Somewhere back above the point of control at about 66.8, or the previous resistance at about 66,967K. All right. Okay. Again, the 1 hour, look at this. See how the Stokes are pointing down now? That's a dump to me. So that's about the dump. Stochastics are my favorite indicator. When they say yes, I see a big dump coming right now in the 1 minute. Boom. Swing this upside down. Grab your short position. Trade it like you would trade a long, right? If you only know how to trade a long and set it up just like a long, flip it back upside down, you got yourself a short. You can trade short or long. I teach you. See, people don't know they trade long and they don't even know they could trade short. I give people the empowerment to believe they can do anything they want in this world. And again, watch this chop up and go the other way. Just be careful. I'm not trading until I hear this man speak. He speaks in 17 minutes, 12:10. We're just going to extend the stream. It's going to be an extravaganza. And I got it for you here. He's going to be at Stanford Business School at 12:10 p.m. All right. And again, I like that we don't need to rush rate cuts. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to take this away. I don't want someone to just take a short or a long just because of what I'm saying here. I'm watching price action right now, but I'm just kind of showing you what could possibly be happening. Stoke looked nasty for a split second, though. Jerome Powell. All right, let's get back into these super chats. We have a lot to figure out. Yeah, wormhole is all over the place, and you guys want to know what it is. It's probably a good idea that you find out. The W, right? Yeah. $2.3 billion market cap at $1.30. It's got a Solana address. Let's take a look at its chart right off the bat and see what's happening for wormhole. This is Mu. Looks pretty good to me. Mu looks like it may be making 125% gains. The technical analysis says yes. You know, I don't have no idea what it is. You know, I'm not into it personally. I don't have an affinity to any of these coins. Just as the TA says it's good. I'm able to extrapolate the data just like a bot. I'm just showing you, oh, that's interesting. Wow, so this chart looks horrible, right? Almost looks like a rug, really. $12 billion market cap, though? Is that possible? 12.8 billion? The B? Just weird, right? Anyway, let's get back. Maybe it means two, but... So this says a $2.3 billion market cap. 18% of the supply is out. Fully diluted, we give you a $13 billion market cap. The web of Web3. Hundreds of companies and applications use Wormhole's blockchain connectivity platform to secure and scalably grow their user base, increase market share, and drive more on-chain activity. Start integrating. Use multi-chain apps. Uniswap, Solana, Circle, Synthetics, DeGoz, Hashflow, Cosmos, Aptos, Arbitrum, PancakeSwap, and Lita. A platform for blockchain developers. I like that because it has a use case behind the scenes, kind of like Parsec. Parsec has this same, it's in the same niche type of coin, Messaging, queries, connect, NIT, solutions, developers, blockchains, Wormhole, the Web3 of Web3. Interesting. So it's kind of also like it reminds you kind of like Chainlink, like is an Oracle, but it's behind the scenes. So you would expect it to grow in time. The chart looks absolutely horrible. I would have to buy it to believe in the project more than anything else right now. I don't love the technical analysis on it. Total supply at 10 billion. Interesting. Bitcoin back at 65,900, battling the storm here. But to me, at the end of the day, a flag is a flag, and you're below the 200, right? So it's like, but anything will happen, man. But I'm just, whenever I can't get above a key level, I go bearish. So look, resistance, I'm bearish now until you can get back above 66,000. Simple stuff. You get back above 66K, fine. But right now, I remain bearish until you get back above that. Nothing wrong with opening up a short with a stop on the other side, right? Still, we got some coins that are doing damage, like this coin here, for whatever reason. Anti-citizen? Artisan. Interesting. And yes, let's take a look at Blur for you for a second here, just because NFT coins are hot right now too as well. Beautiful cup and handle to the upside, possibly going. And this could give you all the way to 155. And you're still, you know, Blur is sitting right in what's called the golden pocket. A little lower than that. Could even wick to the 200 SMA and grab that 786 level, which I'm really looking forward to. Again, if it loses that, it comes down lower. $40 to 40 cents to me would still be a pretty great DCA optimizational place. You know, an optimal place to DCA, you know, but you do you. Can you check? Oh, Monster DAO. Yeah. So let's see what we did. Yeah, Plow ID works from XC. Check it out. You'll absolutely love. Yeah. Let's look at Zeta Chain and ORNJ. Okay. Sam, what did the move start in the 1 minute when you see hidden bullets? Possibly. When you see the symmetrical trial in GMX break out up or down. Let's take a look at this GMRX for my man. On CoinX, KuCoin. And really, we couldn't get gaming on MEXC. I personally like the CoinX charts the most whenever I get a chance to do this. So last time I looked at it, I saw it in inverted head and shoulder that could break on out. I basically gave a bottom at about 17 cents, and it went up to a high of 21 cents. Almost hit my target, went up a little bit, but came back down. Still kind of sideways now. I'd be careful, you know, it's a brand new coin. You have to look up if people got airdropped or how much allocation people will get. I definitely know there was IDO allocation out of S-Fund and a few other places too as well. Maybe even ChatGPT, I don't know. Yes, sweetie pie. Okay, sweetie, mommy needs daddy's wallet. Of course she does. No, that's me. I shouldn't do it. It's her money too. My wallet. I believe it's on my desk. I love you. Okay, so, you know, I see it as a kind of like almost like an ascending triangle that broke out, broke back inside. You want to see it hold this key level. Same thing kind of what you're watching for Bitcoin. You want to take a look at your 200 SMA, maybe in the 30-minute chart. And see, you don't want to lose that, right? The 30-minute chart is kind of my go-to on this chart right now. Before the 1 hour truly develops, you could kind of cheat a bit of an Adam and Eve here too as well. Something kind of forming. You want to see this get tight. Look for it to break out and retest this key level at about 2 cents. Thank you so much for the hearts too. I see the hearts coming on in. I appreciate that. People just clicking on those hearts. I see them pouring on in. I really, really appreciate those hearts. 65,920 for Bitcoin. All right. Let's take a look at ORNJ coin. USDT on MEXC. And nobody knows what will happen faux show. Wow, so ORNJ took a nice little dump. We thought we were in at the bottom. Beautiful move from 58 back up to 76. And it got kind of crunched on down. Let's take a look. See, I'm on like long term, so I'm not really watching it too closely every 5 seconds. So let's take a look here on the daily. Really nice move, but look, it definitely double topped here, right? And it follows Bitcoin closely. We know that. So it's the Bitcoin ecosystem. So you really want Bitcoin to be doing well when you're in these BRC20 kind of connecting coins. That's an M pattern to me that likely could break down to 44. You know, not every trade, you know, you're speculating all the time. You have to remember that too. Most people like, I'm in a bull run and everything I touch is, you know, again, the idea is we should be making constant gains as much as we can be, but what you'd hope is shoulder, head, kind of maybe a right shoulder to get you on out of here. So you're looking for some tightness. You'd like to see a bounce. To me, you lost the support, but you came back to a resistance that could get lower right there. About what, 51 cents? I'm getting mixed signals on this, to be honest, though. Chance it could be in this bigger pattern, like just a really giant pattern, which is kind of crazy, but that's like, you know, pushing it for bullishness. You didn't say hi. You tried to scare me today. Why? What's going on?
I want you to give me permission so she can speak with me.
Yeah, who is it? Thank you. All right, so if orange loses this key level, it'll drop further to the downside. We're looking at it, your levels of, your point of control here, 40 cents. Could be a good pickup point for orange, It's so bullish, and I haven't seen it hit that in a while. To me, seems unlikely. But again, that's kind of my emotion speaking and how I feel about the coin. So, it did lose a key level right there. So, it really wasn't supposed to lose 59 cents, 58 cents. That's a pretty strong support zone. So orange, interesting to me, after that beautiful pickup too on the lows there at that, anyway. Yeah, it got me kind of, it's got me weary of it now, watching it a little closer. Now, if Bitcoin gets the bump, it'll get the bump back up too. You can see they're all kind of watching Bitcoin in a bit of a nutshell there, right? Liquidity on CROB, he said. Micro Bitcoin, CROB, per wrapped crow. 22 million. Volume 10 million. Wow. Fully diluted. Nice. Just came out. Again, these are little coins, everyone you take a chance on. You have to research yourself and find out. I'm not really into them. Let's take a look at Barrick Gold. I haven't taken a look at Barrick in a long time. Used to trade a lot of mining stocks a lot. Used to look at Barrick in the morning. So interesting, right off the bat, right? If you were just trading this on the 1 hour, shoulder, head, right shoulder, kind of a shoulder, head, right shoulder here, right? Gives you the neckline to the head, tells you where you're likely going to go once you break from the neckline. And what a beautiful trade that was for Barrick Gold. Look at the gap in the VRVP that you went through. Bang, bang, bang. And you could do this in your sleep, right? You could trade any market you want. Gap, fall back down the gap. Anyway. Let's take a look at the bigger picture for Barrick and see what's happening on the big idea. But again, you can see why I trade cryptocurrency. I just like the speed of it, the movement of it, and I like it that it goes faster and you get more information in a small amount of time. Crypto is really interesting to me for many, many reasons, right? So I just look at the weekly whenever I'm looking at anything, and you have resistance at 31. You had your bottom at 6, secondary bottom there, and possibly your third bottom at 13. You get above this key level. That's going to be your resistance. Bit of a flag. Broke out, broke back inside. I think trading gold is so boring that like me doing this chart is like hurting me right now. So I may have to move on. But you could go further up. 36 would be your target, right? Low, high, higher, low. You must break a higher high and get above 31. Much breach this trend line. Once you breach this trend line, you can get some gains. Let's take a look at our moving averages now for a second and see where they're at. I didn't remember getting rid of them. It's weird. I hired a moving company. I'm getting boxes. It's just crazy. Like, I'm putting things in boxes and moving away is a weird feeling, right? Like it's a fun feeling too. I got to look forward and look ahead, but I'm moving, everybody. I'm moving. I'm gone. I'm leaving the Northeast for the first time in my entire life permanently. And I don't know. I got a funny feel. I'm excited. My whole life is going to change. And you only live once. What an exciting thing to do, right? To go live somewhere different. And, why live in the same place your whole life, right? So that's where we're going to go. Are you getting into ENA? Honestly, I'm kind of coined out. There's always another coin to be jumping on into. This thing is out of control, though. Jeez Louise. If I got into it, I would have bought it already, right? We looked at it yesterday on the channel. Remember when it first, didn't someone ask us about it yesterday? This thing just exploded, right? All you had to do is just buy a brand new coin on MEXC. Again, high risk, high reward, but boom. It's gone. 59 cents all the way up, right? And making flags. If I was going to trade this, I'd have to wait for it to kind of get some type of market structure here. Maybe some type of flag. It could be worth trading for the day, you know what I mean? Definitely might be worth swing trading. So I'll look at something like this and look for the swing trade on the day. Put this over here, hit create. All right, are you getting into ENA? Dang, man, this thing's out of control. Athena. Wow, look at that. And it even just consolidated nicely. Like, it wasn't even that hard to, like, figure out, you know? It just consolidated. Take the length of your pole. And, like, bang. I mean, it's so beautiful. Wish I'd seen it last night. You can't get them all. You know what I mean? AITECH still on my radar is in a possible accumulation zone. I own this coin. I've even taken a few nibbles. I might take a few more. Come down to the 786 and I'll like it even more, is my old saying. So I'll take a few nibbles. I'll take it even more. Come down to the 786 and I'll like it even more. Let's go, baby. 786 level. Before we get our next AI just announcement for a blast to the upside. Blur getting the bounce too, and I'm just saying with NFT NYC out there and Blur being one of the NFT exchanges, telling me that it may get a little bit of a buzz throughout the week, but you never know. I could be wrong. All right. And you guys can go research Sawala the koala. I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't condone it. I don't know what it is. I'm just putting that out there. All right. Let's take a look at BTC here on Binance. As it's getting a bit of a bounce. So look, we got a nice bounce out of this ugly, insane price action. Look at it. A wick down, a wick up. Look how crazy. It's just very wicky. Very wicky. I do see a move back to the top of the channel as the more likely scenario. All right. I've said that many times. I'll say it one more time. I have no idea where Bitcoin's going. But based on what I do here every day, it's suggesting that we're going to go through this gap, VRVP, and back up to this same zone, right? Like, but again, no guarantees. Be awesome if we get at least back to 67,000. I just want the daily candle to close above 65.5. That's all that matters. And with that, we're going to lower the volume and bring you Jerome P.
Global pandemic, supply disruptions, an incredibly dramatic fiscal expansion, a lot of asset market volatility, first inflation of magnitude in many years, and somehow we've emerged with the U.S. economy continuing to create jobs and be the envy of the world. And that range of experience, as well as Chairman Powell's responsible leadership, make him a perfect first speaker for our event. He is going to share some opening remarks, and then he's going to be joined on stage by Arvind Krishnamurthy. Arvind is the John Osterweiss Professor of Finance at the GSB, and he is himself an expert on asset markets, financial intermediation, and monetary policy. So with that, it's a pleasure to welcome Chairman Powell to the stage. Okay.
Thank you very much, Dean Levin. It's great to be here today. Thanks to everyone for coming out. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm going to begin with some comments on the economy and the road ahead for monetary policy before briefly discussing the Federal Reserve's monetary policy independence and then joining Arvind Krishnamurthy for some discussion. So over the past year, inflation has come down significantly, but it's still running above the FOMC's 2% goal. In February, headline inflation was 2.5% over the past
Jerome
12
Powell's
months
talking.
based on PCE index. A year ago, it was 5.2. Core inflation, which excludes the volatile food and energy components, stood at 2.8% in February. A year ago, it was 4.8%. So this is very welcome progress, but as you can see, the job of sustainably restoring 2% inflation is not yet done. Tight monetary policy continues to weigh on demand, particularly in interest-sensitive spending categories. Nonetheless, growth in economic activity and employment was strong in 2023, as real GDP expanded by more than 3%, and 3 million jobs were created, even as inflation fell substantially. This combination of outcomes reflects significant improvements in supply that offset to some extent the effects on demand of tighter financial conditions. The healing of global supply chains helped address pent-up demand for goods, particularly in sectors that had faced considerable shortages, such as autos. In addition, labor supply increased significantly thanks to rising participation among
This is all
25
bullish.
to 54-year-olds, workers in their prime working
It's all
years,
bullish.
As well as a strong pace of immigration. Recent readings on both job gains and inflation have come in higher than expected. The economy added in an average of 265,000 jobs per month in the 3 years through February, a faster pace than we have seen since last June. And the higher inflation data over January and February were above the low readings in the second half of last year. But these recent data do not, however, materially change the overall picture, which continues to be one of solid growth, a strong but rebalancing labor market, and inflation moving down toward 2% on a sometimes bumpy path. Labor market rebalancing is evident in many parts of the data, including quits, job openings, surveys of employers and workers, and the continued gradual decline in wage growth. On inflation, it is too soon to say whether the recent readings represent more than just a bump.
Wage growth decline.
We do not expect that it will be appropriate to lower our policy rate until we have greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably down toward 2%. Given the strength of the economy and progress on inflation so far, we have time to let the incoming data guide our decisions on policy. We've held our policy rate at its current level since last July. As shown in the individual projections that the FOMC released just 2 weeks ago, my colleagues and I continue to believe that the policy rate is likely at its peak for this tightening cycle. If the economy evolves broadly as we expect,
That's
most
bullish.
FOMC participants see it as
Look at
likely to be appropriate to begin lowering the policy rate at some point this year.
Woo!
Of course, that outlook is still quite uncertain. and
Bots
we
are
face
programmed
risks
to buy
on
on
both
that stuff.
sides. Reducing rates too soon or too much could result in a reversal of the progress we've seen on inflation and ultimately require even tighter policy to get inflation back to 2%. But easing policy too late or too little could unduly weaken economic activity and employment. As progress on inflation continues and labor market tightness eases, these risks continue to move into better balance.
Okay.
As conditions evolve, monetary policy is well positioned to confront either of these risks. We are making decisions meeting by meeting, and we'll do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals.
Love saying
And
that.
that brings me to my second topic. The Fed has been assigned 2 goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. Our success in delivering on these goals matters a great deal to all Americans. To support our pursuit of these goals, Congress granted the Fed a substantial degree of independence in our conduct of monetary policy. Fed policymakers serve long terms that are not synchronized with election cycles. Our decisions are not subject to reversal by other parts of the government other than through legislation.
Looks like we're going to get our
This
signal
independence
here
both enables
above
and
the
requires
200
us
here.
to make our policy decisions without
He's pretty bullish.
consideration of short-term
Period.
political
Like,
matters.
this is going great.
Such independence for a federal agency is and should be rare. In the case of the Fed, independence is essential to our ability to serve the public.
The
The
5
record
minute
shows
is
that
just getting
independent
above the
central banks
200.
deliver better economic outcomes.
Bullish sign.
We recognize that we need to continually earn this grant of independence, and we do so by carrying out our work with technical competence and objectivity in a transparent and accountable manner, and by sticking to our knitting.
Our
By
knitting.
technical competence, I mean
You
that
can
Fed
hand knit.
policymakers use the most up-to-date information
Hand knit.
and
Federal
research
Reserve
to deepen our understanding
notes.
of the ever-evolving economy and to reliably deliver on our assigned goals.
Our knitting.
We're supported by a highly capable staff. We also draw on the insights and experiences of a wide array of business, academic, community, and labor leaders, as well as others engaged in the economy.
Who own no Bitcoin.
And by objective, I mean that our analysis is free from any personal or political bias in service to the public.
Like Bitcoin.
We will not always get it right. No one does. But our decisions will always
Bitcoiners do.
reflect our
The
painstaking
Bitcoiners get it right every
assessment
time,
of
baby.
what's best for our economy in the medium and longer term, and nothing else. Transparency and accountability are fundamental for any government agency in a democracy, but are especially important for one granted policy independence. The Fed has a special obligation to explain ourselves clearly, to describe what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Unlike
We're always
Congress.
striving to improve this communication, and it is a job that is never complete. but we've come a long way. Before 1994, the FOMC
make it
did
too
not even
easy.
announce monetary policy decisions. Today, we announce those decisions, and we explain the thinking behind them in our post-meeting statement and press conference. We publish detailed minutes of our deliberations and a quarterly summary of economic and policy projections of each FOMC participant. We publish a monetary policy report twice a year, and the chair appears before Congress to present that report and to answer any and all questions that are on the minds of our oversight committee members.
Oh.
In 2020, we completed a year-long public review of our monetary policy framework, and late this year, we will begin just such another review.
Chris, this is like
My
more in
colleagues and
depth.
I
It feels
explain
like
our views
than
on
when he's
the
at the Federal
economic outlook
Reserve.
and monetary
We're
policy.
getting the
in
signal
speeches like this one,
above the
and
200.
in visits to communities around the country as part of an extensive
That is usually a
outreach
big,
in
big
which we
move
seek
to the
input
upside.
from
Bing.
individuals and groups throughout
Got to get
society.
above it, but if we can, that could be a huge
Transparency
move.
is an affirmative and proactive commitment.
You do you. I personally think that's a great trade.
Lastly, to maintain the public's trust, we also need to avoid mission creep. Our
Entry
nation
was
faces
right
many
now.
challenges,
Now it's
some
gone.
of which directly or indirectly
Look,
involve
already up
the economy.
$160. I just made
Fed
the trade.
policymakers are
Gone.
often pressed
180
to
bucks.
take a position on issues that are arguably relevant to the economy,
Look at that thing.
but are not within our mandate,
Gone.
such as, for example, particular
I front
tax
ran
and
it
spending policies,
for a quick
immigration
200.
policy, and trade policy. Climate change is another current example.
I'm going to take 50 off the
Policies to address
table,
climate change are the business of elected officials and those agencies.
and then I'm going to move
that
my stop
they
to
have
break
charged
even
with
and
this
just see where I can
responsibility.
get this thing.
The Fed has received no such charge. We do, however, have a
Let's
narrow
go, baby.
role
Let's
that
go.
relates to our responsibility.
Just banked
as a
$100
bank
in 2
supervisor.
seconds.
The public will expect
All right.
that the institutions that we regulate and
Show you how we run
supervise
this game.
will understand and be able to manage the material risks that they
Make
face,
$1,000 a day
which
sitting
over
here
time
on the
are
one minute
likely to
or
include
more.
climate-related financial risks.
Look at that move.
We will remain alert to the risk that there
We
will be
had you at
pressure
hello,
to
though.
expand that role over time. But we are not.
can't lose
nor
the
do we
trade
seek to
now,
be
banking it.
Climate policymakers. In short, doing our job well requires that we respect the limits of our mandate. Thank you. I'll stop there. And
Nice
look
job,
forward
man.
to
You just
listening.
made me $100, Jerome. Way to be bullish, baby. Might even just close it all the way. Just take mine. Knowing the volatility today.
Thank you very much, Chair Powell, for those remarks.
Yeah, I took
and
it.
For taking
I
some
took
time
my money.
to be with us and talk to us today.
Bang, bang.
There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today. I think we have a lot of stuff to talk about, so I'm going to get right into it. Before I get started, I just want to also thank you to the audience for sending questions over. What I've done is I've tried to organize the conversation around 2 themes. One, we'll start by talking about the macroeconomy.
I think that's all we kind of need.
And then
Everything
you
else
have
is
been
kind of like a
shared
long.
through
I don't know
very
if we want to be through
tumultuous
this whole.
period over the last
We'll go through
5
some of
years,
this.
and
We'll
I
see
wanna
how it
talk
works
about the
out.
leadership challenges,
That was pretty much
around that. So
what I
let me
wanted.
just dive
I
right
move above
into it.
there, and
Pick up on something
that was
you
the second
started
signal I
talking
got
about,
today.
inflation.
And it may go up even
2
huger,
years
right?
ago,
Even
we
bigger,
had,
but I'd
inflation
I just was in and
readings
out
close
on
to
that one
6-7%.
based on what we're seeing
We've
here.
come down
you know?
to 3% last Friday.
That's what I was
The
looking for.
PCE
I front
inflation
ran
index,
it.
the personal consumption
I like that
expenditure inflation
Saratoga.
index,
It's
which is
good.
something the Fed often speaks about, came in at 2.8%. We've had a conversation about this. There's so many factors that have been play in the economy over the last couple of years. I wonder if you can just spend some time talking to us about what you think are the key factors that have brought inflation down over the last 2 years.
Sure. So I think I'll start with where we think the inflation came from. So what is actually different this time, at the risk of making that statement, is that this inflation wasn't strictly just a question of demand overheating and the Fed coming in and having to suppress demand. That's been the more typical pattern, perhaps on the back of a shock such as the oil price shock and that kind of thing. This episode actually also involved, as everyone will recall, the collapse of the supply side in a lot of ways. So supply chains stopped working. There were shortages of critical things like semiconductors, which turned out you couldn't make cars. I think many of us might not have realized how many semiconductors go into a car. In addition, there was a major labor force shock. So we lost several million people out of the labor market. So we had a very severe labor shortage.
Could almost
So
make
it was
the
a supply
same
side
trade
issue,
again.
as well as overheated demand from the closing and then reopening of the economy at a time when rates were low and fiscal policy was very supportive of demand. So we had both of those things. And therefore, if those were the causes, what we needed to see was both the unwinding of the pandemic-related distortions to both the supply and demand in the economy, and also the effects of tight monetary policy.
Just stay above
today, what we think
65.5.
we're seeing as inflation has come down sharply over the last year,
That's
is
all I
those
care
two
about.
factors working together. And they do work together. We think that tight monetary policy weighing on demand actually gives the supply side a better chance to recover. And 2023
stay above this
of course, was a
200.
year, as I mentioned, of very significant supply side recovery and expansion.
And what are the factors that you're keeping an eye on, say, over the next few years, maybe next year or two, that might play out in the inflation picture?
I should also mention inflation expectations, which in our framework and in the thinking of most monetary economists, people think that having the public expect inflation to return to 2% despite it moving up, that's a very important factor in bringing inflation back down. In a sense, if people believe that price setters and wage setters in the economy, if they believe that inflation will be 2%, then that'll actually happen. So as we look ahead, though, one question is how much more juice is there to come out of the supply side recovery? We got a very large increase in population last year, which may have helped with inflation. It certainly helped with output, and it increased the potential output. At the same time, the economy is growing 3.1%.
Bang, let's get this pump.
Around that, we also had inflation coming down quickly. So there may be more supply side gains to be had. Surveys of businesses still show difficulties in hiring people, difficulties.
We're going to get rate cuts, baby. This is going to be amazing.
The inputs that they need for their businesses.
Setting
So
up for
there's
really
some
good
benefit
2024,
there.
man.
We also think that monetary policy is tight. It's weighing on interest-sensitive spending in the economy. So, for example, durable goods, surveys of consumers will say that it's a tough time to buy durable goods because rates are high. You also see the labor market rebalancing because you can look at demand in the labor market as well as supply, but you see demand reflected in lower job openings, a very small increase in unemployment, in wages moving back down toward more sustainable levels. So we think those two forces that I mentioned will be the ones we'll be looking for. And the thing we'll be looking at, of course, is the incoming data on inflation as those affect the outlook, and the same thing about the labor market. What's happening in the labor market? Does it suggest that the labor market is continuing its progress, and it's made substantial progress, to get back to a sustainable level of wage growth and balance between supply and demand?
Can I just dig into the inflation expectations point you mentioned? An analogy that people drew a couple of years ago was to the high inflation episode of the 70s, where we had a high inflation period that then ended up shifting expectations, then through the wage price mechanism, and
it looks like we're going to get a big pump here.
Period of high inflation. In the current situation, I guess I have two questions. How concerned are you about maybe inflation getting stuck in the upper
Big pump.
twos, around 3?
Big pump. Let's go.
Could that last mile be very hard because inflation expectations getting stuck? And then relatedly, are there things you're looking at to tell you, to signal to you that that is an issue or isn't an issue?
Right. So as I mentioned, inflation expectations, we think, are an important part of driving actually inflation. And we want them to be at levels that are consistent with 2% inflation over time. Not 3%, but 2%, not 2.5%. The good news is
21 coming for the
that's where they
200.
are right now and pretty much have been for some time. And we look at surveys of businesses, households, forecasters. We look at other
Future
kinds of
market broke out
measures
a little
of,
more.
inflation expectations and model-based and things like that. We also look at market-based. The market is always buying and selling
About to
inflation
rip.
protection, and
Let's
you can
go.
get from that
Boom.
expectation of or assessment of what markets expect.
Yes.
And all of those are pretty consistently saying that the public does believe, and it's a good thing because it's true, that inflation will go back
Boom.
down to 2%.
Yes.
So that's very
Yes.
assuring, but that's partly because
go.
of the very strong action that
Let's
we
go.
took, and also because of our ongoing
Yes.
commitment to actually return inflation to 2% over time. So, and that is our commitment, by the way. But over time, so I would say it would be a concern if inflation expectations were not to be consistent with the outcome that we seek. But the good news
Nice.
is they're not, and I think our commitment is understood.
baby
and
in this one
respected
now
and
here.
Believed
I'm in
by
this
the
trade
public,
here.
and that's as it should be.
Let me flip to the other side of the equation. We've had employment, economic activity that remained quite strong. The unemployment rate is really...
I scalped the top right there.
The last,
I scalped it.
2 years.
I'm out.
And
I'm
this
out.
is
That's
during
all
a
I
period
wanted.
in which you've took the funds rate from 0% to
Give me that.
5.3% in
Sorry.
about as fast a rate hike cycle as we've seen in history. A year ago, many people were talking about possibility of recession. That hasn't happened. Again, you made some remarks about this, but
Made
I wonder
about
if you can just go a
220
little
on
bit
that
more
move.
into this.
On
Why
those two moves.
hasn't this happened? Why have we achieved what looks like a soft landing, which is inflation coming down, unemployment remaining low? What are the factors that have played out? And then the related question, do we think this will continue to happen over the next year or two?
Yeah, so I guess I've always had the view and always said that because of the unusual...
This is actually more
origins
enjoyable
of
than
this
the other times
inflation
for me.
and
I don't
its
know why.
differences from other
not
prior
bad.
episodes. There was a
He's
path
he's beginning to grow,
getting
man. It's
inflation
kind of
back
weird.
down,
Jerome.
restoring price stability, getting
Jerome
inflation back
Powell.
down sustainably to 2% without the kind of large job losses and increases in unemployment that have been typical of prior tightening cycles. And the reason, again, was that some part of this was independent of demand. If you have to get all of the inflation reduction gains from suppressing demand, then the chances are that will involve that will weigh on employment and economic activity pretty significantly. But here we had the situation for again semiconductors. You couldn't buy a car at the very time when people wanted cars because they were moving to the suburbs, because they didn't want to ride on public transportation because of COVID. At that precise time, the supply of cars went down dramatically because of the shortage. So what happened is the prices went way up. That's how the market clears in our economy. So on the other side of that, though, without respect to demand, once the semiconductor
Looks like we're
supply
going to get a
comes back,
continuation pump
you
here.
should come right back down that curve, and you could, in principle, get inflation
Let's go.
down significantly
Let's
without
go.
just ignoring demand for a second.
Let's go.
So I always thought that was possible, and I would say something like that is
The 21 crossing
appears
the
to be
200 is a
happening.
good sign right there.
Sorry, so then your question is...
And look, let's go now. We're
How
getting
did that happen?
pumped.
So more recently, we expected that to happen at the very beginning, and that's why we thought the inflation was transitory, meaning it would go away quickly without much effort from us. That turned out not to be the case. And we thought then that was in 2021. In 2022,
He just said,
we thought the supply
isn't
side
that funny?
would recover more. It really didn't. And
He's not supposed to say
I certainly began
that.
to wonder whether that was going to happen. And then it really happened in 2023. Right about the time we were almost ready to give up on supply side recovery, you got this significant increase in labor force participation, accompanied by a significant move up in immigration, and you also got the unwinding of the supply side problem. So what's happening is when that happens, potential output is going up significantly, the economy's productive capacity. So you have a situation where productive capacity is going up even more than actual output. And so the economy actually isn't becoming tighter, which it ordinarily would. It's actually becoming a little looser, and you're seeing inflation come down. Very unusual situation. The pandemic has been, a textbook of unusual, unexpected developments and situations. But that really is the story. And then, Arvind, the question is, how much more are we going to get out of the supply side recovery, and how much will fall to demand? And we just don't know the answer to that. We're not going to prematurely assume that there's no more progress to be made on the supply side. Indeed, the evidence is that there probably is more gain to be had there.
You had mentioned immigration has been a big part of the last year or two in terms of the supply side. Can you just expand on that? Is that how important is that relative to supply chain? Where do you see that playing out in the next year or two?
So I need to start by saying that the Fed is not an immigration policymaker, and don't comment on those who do have that assignment or the policies that they make. It's really we're just calling the balls and strikes on the economy as we see them. And so from that standpoint, our economy's been short labor, and probably still is. If you talk to, and we do talk to a lot of business people, it's still difficult to hire for many companies. So we've needed more people.
Looks like we're already hit by target. I'm back in on a rising wedge on the 1 minute.
To a much greater extent than had been thought.
like
Immigration
this,
moved
see?
up quite a bit over the last 2 years. And this is typically the Census Bureau does all this estimating. The Congressional Budget Office actually went and took a different path and talked to the people who work at the border and that kind of thing, and got a much higher estimate, which now many groups have gone out to validate.
Boom.
And I would say it's clear there's something
just came
there.
up
The numbers
strong.
are higher. And that actually explains what we've been asking
These bots
ourselves,
go
which
off
is
these
how
words,
can the economy
higher,
have grown
movement.
over
I'm learning
3%
now. Someone's
in a
programming
year
bots
where
and they're going off
almost
words. That's
every
what
outside
I found out
economist
today.
was forecasting
And so
a
they're
recession.
saying higher, boom.
An overwhelming majority anyway, we're forecasting a recession for 2023. Not only did that not happen, we had better than 3% growth. So really a remarkable performance, and some part of that is that there are significantly more people working in the country, and but then how does inflation come down? It's because the capacity of the economy has actually moved up perhaps more than
And we
the actual
started in
output.
here
So
at
it's
60,
a
60,
bigger
50.
economy,
We're
but
in
not
the trade
tighter.
hot right now.
Really an unexpected and unusual thing. Again, we don't make judgment calls, but that's what we're seeing.
I've already scalped 3 times.
So it's interesting in this discussion we've had about inflation and unemployment. We've
I've
talked
made
about
270 now
real factors.
since I've been here.
Immigration, supply
just since
chain,
he started talking,
that's
I
the
made
stuff that
270.
seems to have played out. We haven't really talked about interest rates per se, which is, of course, the primary tool of the Federal Reserve. It looks
I'm enjoying
from the
this.
outside
Anyone
like the
enjoying this?
interest rate
I'm having
sensitivity
a
of the
great
economy
time.
in this cycle has been very
Appreciate
muted,
it.
very different than in the past. There's also, you look at the economy, they look like there's very differential impacts across different parts of the economy. The housing market, people have long-term fixed-rate mortgages, so interest rate pass-through there is very low. Here in Silicon Valley, we have early-stage growth businesses where the cost of capital is affected by the higher rates, and there it looks like we have a much bigger impact. So I wonder if you can speak about the interest rate sensitivity of the economy in this cycle.
I scalped that
And
so
then
fast, too.
Another
Look at that.
question, a
In
related
and out,
question,
in and
which
out.
is we have differential impacts across the economy. How do you think about balancing the impact of interest rate hikes in different sectors?
So
Now we retest.
I guess the headline for me would be that I do think monetary policy is working and working broadly as expected. I think you can point to sectors of the economy, and you mentioned a couple. So if you're a household that has a low-interest mortgage, you're not feeling the effect of higher mortgage rates. And many companies as well took the opportunity to term out their debt before rates went up. So you have a lot of companies that have longer-term fixed-rate debt at pretty low rates, and they're not as affected by it. That's all true. At the same time, again, if you look at interest-sensitive spending, either in housing or durable goods, you're seeing very significant effects there. And I do think you see the economy rebalancing. So I think it's not right and maybe too soon to conclude that there's some significant disconnect there in terms of monetary policy transmission. But it still leaves the question of how the economy can have grown over 3% during a year in which the federal funds rate is at a quarter-century high. Why wouldn't growth have been lower? And to me, the answer to that is the supply-side recovery. I think that's what people need to understand, is that you have this force from outside. It's not just interest rates and demand. You've got a supply-side recovery that is creating new demand and new supply. And that's why you get a number like 3.1% at the same time inflation is coming down. One of the reasons why. So I think that's really the story. It's not that the policy isn't restrictive, and it's not that the economy is not responsive to rates. It's that we've had this outside force that is temporarily affecting that.
So if I benchmark Fed policy right now, we have rates at 5.3%. Inflation is running a little bit under 3%. That's like a 2.5% real interest rate. That's really the real cost of borrowing. Compare this to pre-pandemic. We had real rates of close to 0, maybe 0.5%, sometimes negative. So we've gone from a very low rate environment to a very high rate environment. Policy looks tight right now. Another benchmark, I don't know if my colleague John Taylor is here, but the Taylor rule is a typical benchmark we use for thinking about central bank policy. And by the Taylor rule, policy rates right now should be around 4. So policy does look quite restrictive right now. And I think in talking about where policy is right now, you've said that the risks are balanced. Why continue to have tight policy in an environment in which the risks are balanced?
So we do think that policy is restrictive. We think it's doing its job. I would go back to what I said in my remarks to start, which is we think the risks are two-sided. So there's a risk of if you cut too soon, the risk is that the progress on inflation will stop, or that even it will reverse. And we've seen that in some historical, particularly in the 70s. We don't think that's what's happening here at all, but that's a risk that we have to manage. The other risk is that we wait too long or move too slowly once we do move, and in that case you have weakening in the labor market and economic output. So we're trying to steer between those two risks. Obviously, we're trying to be in the middle and get the timing right. It's very challenging. There is no risk-free path, but and I think we're in a position to address the economy moving in either of those directions. So the risk, though, of moving too soon really is that the economy, really does, the inflation does move up, and then it really would be quite disruptive if we were to have to then come back in. We will do what we have to do to get inflation down to 2%, but again, it's about balancing those risks.
That's bearish.
It's never the case that
the boss
you
don't
can
like that.
confidently look at the baseline and say, this is what we're going to do. It's always about having a baseline understanding, but then knowing what the risks are and having the committee be in a position to be able to address those should they materialize. And I think we're very much in that position now.
Maybe I can just follow up on that. So I'm going to ask a question about, is there a signal or a data point that you're paying particular attention to over the next year? And I'm going to ask it this way. So
yeah, he's watching the Crypto Life.
If you had a crystal ball that you knew
he would watch the Crypto Life
answer
show.
One question about the next 12 months, what question would you ask it? What's the thing you really want to know?
Sorry, there's no one thing. It really is. We have a dual mandate. You're asking me to be single-minded about the dual mandate.
No, just a kind of a data point that you think will guide you.
Nice way to get around that, Jerome.
Can't do that. No, I mean, we have to, I would say this. In our framework, the two goals, price stability and maximum employment, are equal under the law. But our framework literally says that if you're very far from achieving one of the goals and the other one is pretty much at goal or even better than goal, then you focus on the one that's far from goal. This is obvious, right? So, and that's what we did after inflation came up in March of 21, and then we really had a very tight focus, and you heard us talking about getting inflation under control. But as inflation has come down, the two things are moving back into balance, and we're not a single mandate bank. The key thing I'll end with, though, is price stability it gives us the ability to achieve both goals. If we don't have price stability, then we're not going to have these long periods of tight labor markets, which benefit everyone. What we saw in the 10-year, 8-month expansion that ended with the pandemic was, for the last 2 or 3 years, the people at the lower end
trade
of the
on the
income
1
spectrum
second
were
right
getting the
now,
largest wage
and
increases.
I'm tempted to trade the signal above. I've never really done this as much, so I got in as we got above the 200 here.
So a tight labor market
and
over a long
I'm using
period of
this
time
signal, right,
does
to
enormous
kind of
social
just
good. And that's what we all
ebb
wanna
and
do, is we
flow
wanna get
through
back
this.
to that. For that, you need price
I wanted to
stability.
wait all the way
But they
till
were-
the
so the
1
two of them
second
actually are
cross,
quite
but it's very, very
complementary.
iffy signal. See, look at that. Seems not to
I'm
be
gonna
as strong
shift
as the
from
1
just talking
minute.
about the near term to the
I would have to
thinking
hold
about
here now.
the longer term for the U.S. economy.
If the
We've had a
bounce
pretty
there.
big shift in growth expectations for long run growth. This comes out from the Fed's own projections as
Gotta
well
show
as
you what
from
I'm-
economic forecasters' projections.
did
15 years
bounce,
ago,
wow.
long-term growth forecasts
Look at
were
this bounce.
2.8%, 3%. Pre-pandemic, they've
Look at
been
this
below
bounce.
2. That's kind of where they've been for long-term growth forecasts.
Off the
That's where
200.
your
Look at that.
own forecasts have been. Why do you think that is? Why long-term growth at 2%? We're sitting in Silicon Valley.
777.
AI is all the buzz here. We've had high growth over the last few years. Is 2 a reasonable number? Is it
Shoulder,
possible we
head,
could
right
go back
shoulder to
that
the upside. Look at that
2.83%
beautiful
that we had,
inverted shoulder, head,
in the
right
early
shoulder.
2000s?
So let me start by saying that sort of every bit of the economy is difficult to forecast. There isn't one that's more difficult.
I'm just having some fun
to
now with the
forecast
1
than
second
productivity,
chart,
for
seeing
example,
how this
which is one of
plays
the
out.
key elements of longer-term growth. So it's very, very, very uncertain. I mean, basically, what longer-term growth is a function of growth in hours worked and of output per hour. And hours worked is really a function of demographics and more than anything else. And productivity, output per hour, is highly unpredictable. So
it just got lit right when I did that.
People lowered their longer run growth expectations to around, I guess, 1.8% is the median, something below 2%. That's given what had been our very low population growth, and expectations that productivity might be 1.5%, 1%, 1.5% kind of thing, productivity growth in output per hour. That's a pretty good place to be. We've had higher productivity than that recently, and the question is it going to be a sustained thing? Are we going to enter into a new period of higher productivity? So that would be
quicker
great.
Than that.
It is productivity growth that lifts, all boats, generation upon generation. And, so people argue AI can be that effect. Some people are arguing that, there were a lot of business starts at the beginning of the pandemic and during the pandemic as Americans went out and started businesses at that time. And also that you've seen you've seen a lot of change in the labor force. So people moving, quitting, going to better jobs that might be better suited to their skills. But all of those things, they could become a longer run productivity increase or not. Those might just be the things that we need to get 1.5% productivity. And it is unknowable. And particularly with AI, the range of potential outcomes, it should increase productivity. Everyone sees that. But that's not what we're seeing in the numbers now. It's too soon for AI to be affecting, I think, the productivity numbers. But, the logic of it is that it could actually increase productivity. And then the question will be, what does it do to labor? Is it going to replace labor or augment labor or both? And if so, in what proportion? So hard to say about longer run growth, but of course, it would be great if that were the case.
And then just to follow up, we talked about this before. Do you feel like you need to take a stand on this in policy making it current?
No, I mean, so our focus, the things that are really important to the U.S. economy over time are productivity, immigration, even trade policy, industrial, the things that we're doing, industrial policy that is now a thing. Those are important to the longer run growth and economic well-being of Americans. And what we do is we try to move the economy towards stable prices and maximum employment through the business cycle. That's what we can do with business rate, with monetary policy. We are also a crisis responder. We're a really important crisis responder. We can get there quickly. We have great tools for it. So that's a key thing that we do. We also regulate and supervise the banks, and it's important, and we look after financial stability. So all those are very important things, but they're not things that affect the longer run potential output of the United States. So honestly, though, the question of what will be the equilibrium interest rate, the neutral interest rate going forward, doesn't really matter for policy today. We're really asking about once the pandemic is well and truly behind us, and we're well into the AI investment boom and the effects of AI.
I banged another trade. I'm on $50 again. Yo,
really
this is like
that much
awesome.
For getting inflation down to 2% while keeping the economy growing and the labor market.
Just taking what the market gives me, not being greedy.
Can I shift tacks and talk about some of the challenges of leading the Fed through the last 5 years? So, just in our discussion, and it's clear from looking at the world, you've had so many different shocks. The economy has behaved in so much unusual ways over the last few years. You were appointed
What, it's
Fed
supposed
chair
to be
in
usual?
2018.
Like the economy's supposed to be usual? Human beings aren't usual.
The Fed was low inflation, not high inflation. It was having inflation below target, below the 2% target. COVID happened. We've gone in a completely different direction. So can you just speak about the challenges of taking an organization that was focused on one thing to focusing on something completely different?
Yes, it's certainly been a turbulent time, I will say, to Dean Levin's points. It's been really a lot of things and things that weren't expected. For 20 plus
He's
years
usually dumped to the
around
downside.
the world, economies suffered from lower.
I'm not in the
interest
trade
rates,
right
lower
now.
Inflation, slow growth, low productivity.
We would have to break
bad
this.
demographics.
I guess you could say it's
a
back
lot
at it.
Of monetary economists were working on how do you make your tools work at a time when you're going to be bounded by zero, and you won't be able to cut and support the economy. So this was a big thing. And then the inflation that came, it really arrived in the first quarter of 2021 was a surprise to most people. And again, the macroeconomists generally thought that it would go away over time. Not everyone. There were some concerns expressed, and ultimately it is coming down significantly.
Email Crypto Lifers, anything you need. Email CryptoLifers@gmail.
We had to pivot on that, and we did. When it became clear, really in the fall of 2021, it became clear through the labor market data, the inflation data, the growth data, that the economy was not moving back toward price stability. And we pivoted, and when we pivoted, we really moved. So, because, that was the right thing to do. So the good news about monetary policy is it can move quickly. The emergency tools we have, as I mentioned, are agile compared to other government policies, and they have a significant effect on the economy. So I think we've gotten to what is, knock on wood, a pretty good place. We're using our tools now to try to bring inflation down the rest of the way to 2% while keeping the economy strong and the labor market strong as well.
I mean, the other side of this tumultuous period that we've been through is the external pressure from the Fed, from outside, over where to set interest rates. And you have faced this pressure over the last 6 years, including from the former president. So how do you navigate the decision-making of the Fed in the larger scheme of pressures coming in from the outside?
So the thing is, internally we have peace of mind on this, because everybody who works at the Fed knows that we're going to do what we're going to do, and we're going to do it for economic reasons, and that's it, as I mentioned in my remarks. And I mean, I think you can go back and look, anybody can read the verbatim transcripts of the things that we discuss during. It doesn't matter what the election calendar is saying. Whatever's happening in the economy, those are the decisions. We make decisions based on the analysis that I described in my remarks. So I think we know that. So it becomes, but it's a communication issue that people need to understand that that's what we do. It's always what we do. If you look at the modern historical record, you'll see that the Fed has been prepared to move or not move and do what it thinks is the right thing for the economy in the medium and longer term, without regard to kind of outside considerations. And it's important to just have people know that, which is why I brought it up. I don't have concerns that, that it's going to be a problem for us, because we're going to do what the right thing is for the economy over time, and my colleagues and I are tightly focused on that.
Maybe you can just say a little bit more about that. I mean, you're praised by many people in your ability to build consensus. You've served in different White House administrations with different political ideologies. How do you do that in practice? Do you have any advice for all of us? And
so it boils down to two things. One is, we have a specific mandate. Stick to that mandate, focus on that mandate, and don't be dragged into partisan political fights around. I mean, when I testify, people are always trying to get me and my colleagues to support their perspective on, fiscal issues or immigration issues, and they think of an economic hook, and they try to. But we just don't do that. We stay. That's part of it. The other part of it just is. I spend a lot of time in our system of government, oversight comes through Congress. In a parliamentary system, it's through the elected government, but because that's the same people who are in the parliament. But for us, it's not the administration that has legal oversight responsibility. It's the Congress, the House and the Senate, and particularly the two oversight committees, one in the House, one in the Senate. And so my colleagues and I spend a lot of time, and we
30-second flag here might be a nice move. Staying above the 200 with tight moving averages.
And we want to listen carefully and respectfully and tell them what we're thinking. And I think people appreciate that. That's the thing. Same thing internally. I think when you listen respectfully and understand what people are saying and try to, think about how to incorporate that thinking into what you're doing, for most people, most of the time, that's going to be enough. And so they can go along with things that they don't 100% support, but they feel like they were heard, or they're not going to.
Is this how to manipulate?
Criticize quite as harshly as.
It's how to manipulate people in business.
You're doing this in good faith, to the absolute best of your ability, and based on the actual facts and what we know about the ever-evolving economy.
And can I just ask about how your own background has helped in this process? So you are a person who has shifted between the public and the private sector over the course of your career.
Look for this breakout back to
You're a lawyer by
67,000.
training.
This would
You
be
don't
awesome.
have an economics PhD. You're running an organization.
This is
which
pretty bullish. It's,
mostly.
we're going to see how this
PhD
goes, and then we're going
many
to call it
PhD
a
economists.
moment.
Can you just speak
here.
about how your background has helped you navigate this?
Sure. So when I graduated from college, I had no plan other than this idea that I liked what I saw of the careers of people like George Shultz or Cyrus Vance, for example. And that the idea was these are people who had a mainly private sector career, but served in the government at intervals and were able to do public service. And I grew up in Washington, D.C. My family was not involved in any of this, really. But this is what I observed, and I thought I would like to do that. And by some miracle, that's kind of what happened. It wasn't careful planning. So I always wanted to do public service, and I wound up doing that. I served as an aide on the Hill. I was at all these different things that I've done. So that's how that happened.
And then I'll ask one last question for this. Do you have any advice for the students in this room whose interests are to move between public and private sector?
So I think that's a great plan for people.
What an
People have
elitist
different
question, you know what I
tolerance
mean?
levels for
Like, what an
volatility.
elitist
So,
question. Like,
I mean, I quit the law and went into investment banking, quit investment banking, and went
this is
into
like
private
everyone at
equity,
this
quit
is
private
in
equity,
Stanford.
went
Like, it's
into
just a
public
very,
service, so if you're willing
it's
to
almost like-
tolerate volatility and steep
like they
learning
know
curves,
they're better than everybody. It's kind of weird,
then
you know?
if you're
Whatever,
that
I'm not.
person, then that's a great way to go. The other thing I'll say, though, is I have really found that when I was a partner at a private equity firm, I asked the head of the investment area, what do you look for? I mean, it's all about picking good CEOs and good business models. What do you look for in a good CEO? And the answer was, there's no one model. And that's really important. I have seen very different people be successful in leadership roles. Very, very different people. And it's in, I don't know if it's in every person, but it's in a lot of people to find your own way to lead. And
Yeah, it is.
You don't have
like
to
this.
be one way or another. I can think of one person at the Fed.
Kind of sounds like he'd be a good guy to like just
She had a way
ask questions to about life.
being a very soft talker,
weird.
and by the end of the meeting,
This is one of his
everyone was
most candid talks
leaving
ever.
there thinking, how do I do her? How do I
So
do what
chill
she
right
said?
now.
It's like,
He's
how do
growing
I
on
do
me,
that?
man. It's your pal's growing on me. It's kind of weird.
It's in everybody, and you should have the self-confidence. What I experienced when I first had to lead things was complete lack of self-confidence. Oh my God, I'm not ready to do this, and I think that's very common for people. I think people get more coaching now. But
My
I would
first
just
live
say,
stream with everybody.
Be confident in your own
My first
abilities
group live stream. I was like, what am I?
lead
Like,
and
this
take
is,
things on
for
and take
sure.
risk, because that will that's, if I could say that to something to my younger self, I think that would be it.
Take risk, baby. Go for it.
Jay,
That's why I'm moving to
we're
Florida,
running on
man.
time here.
I'm taking your advice, Jerome. I'm
and
moving to Florida. I'm taking the
There's lots
risk.
more stuff we could talk about, but I'm mindful of time. So let me just first of all thank you on behalf of Stanford for being here, engaging us in this conversation. It's been very stimulating. I know I learned a lot, and I hope we all learned a lot. And again, so thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Autumn. Thank you.
And we're going to end it there. Everybody, thank you so much for being here with me. That was really awesome. I actually had a really good time. I hope you did too. We made some money while we did it. We got paid to listen, got paid to learn. This chart may continue here. I'm in this little flag on the 30-second chart. I'm up $10 right now. We'll see where it goes. But I'm excited. Bang, bang, bang. Let's take a look at BICO. You thinking BICO? Did BICO really do numbers like that? What the? Oh my gosh. Shout out to anyone that jumped into BICO. BICO went up for gains today out of the buy zone to the upside. Buy economy. I love this coin. 28% gains. A little more maybe from this low point. Bang, bang, bang. Didn't hit the target. The target's at 105, but this thing is mooning. Bang, bang, bang. Shout out to anyone that jumped on in. And, it wasn't easy to put out coins when the market was iffy, but we kept pushing through no matter what. And that's kind of a strong point that comes from being in the market for a long time. You're able to kind of bounce back from these dumps pretty fast, like an hour or two. You're able to kind of get over, shrug it off, and then look for opportunity, Trust me, if you check it, you will thank me every day. ATAI. We know ATAI, man. We've been looking at this coin on and off for a long time. Yeah. Come on, man. I know about these coins, guys. I know about these coins over here. Artemisi. I thought it was something else, but I remember, or maybe I'm looking at AIT. You said AI, ATAI. I don't know even which one it would be. This is AI. Well, that's getting some love now. This W. Pumping. Bitcoin flat again. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to jump on out. I just did 3 hours of live streaming. I love you all. I'm going to take a break from the screens, but I'll be back in the chart, in the trading group, doing what we do every single day. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here, and stay blessed. We're going to leave out some outro music, and I'm going to jump on out. And just like a fire, baby, let's keep it moving. I'll see you later.
Just like a